Good evening. Welcome to WooTube. Let's do a bit of fade in. It's season 2. Cause why not? You know, we've got new cards, it's new music, there's new art. It's exciting, isn't it? Everyone just wants to be playing on JNet, but they can't yet. Shout out to Noah and all of the team who are doing an incredible job getting it all ready. I know the new cards will be up in a matter of days. Could be less than a matter of days, but we will find out. I know that they are working super hard. Lots of people have been putting in the hours in anticipation of release date. So I think we should have some cards to play online pretty soon. But as we don't, I thought I'd arrange something else for today, which might be pretty obvious. But first, I do have to shout out. Let's get to the right page, hopefully. Here we go. There is a Chimera tournament coming up. This is on the 6th of April. So in a couple of weeks. As far as I'm aware, well, I'm pretty like 99% certain that all of the new cards will be added into the Chimera format for this tournament. So just even more mental craziness, really. There's also a load of additional prizes which you can win for various objectives which Man in the Moon and Santa have set. That's Abraham and Charlie. And this is an online tournament, and it's actually at a time which is probably pretty respectable for most people who aren't in the kind of APAC sort of region. I would imagine this is pretty bad for them, but I can never work it out. Evening, Snooky. How are you doing tonight? Hello, everyone in chat. How you doing, Ryan? I need to go and look up that tune now, don't I? Okay, so I think what I can do now is probably bring in a couple of special guests which I have on today's show. We have 2 members of Tiebreakers. I was going to say I'll bring them in alphabetically, and then I can't work out who comes in alphabetically first. It must be Aksu. So, Aksu, would you like to introduce yourself to the stream?
Yeah, what up? I'm really bad at these interaction things.
Excellent stuff.
But yeah, I do YouTube sometimes.
Aksu's got a great channel. Go and check that out. I think our plan today is we're going to do a bit of a tier list. We're going to go through the runner cards that were gone out and unceremoniously kind of fame or shame them. And I think we'll do the other half on Aksu's channel. I think we're planning that for Wednesday currently.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Marvelous stuff. Aksu, what are your favorite decks if people don't already know?
I think everybody knows by this point that I love PD and Hoshiko basically only.
Yeah, Aksu's a good stuff player over here. My other special guest today, we have AugustusCeaser. Or Augustus, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything, but my claim to fame is being good at Ag Infusion. So that's the introduction there.
Augustus taking down quite a few kind of AMTs last year and winning Italian nationals. Pretty much all with Ag Infusion, right? That was really the key to your success in the last part of last year.
If I went to a tournament without Ag Infusion, it's because I was trolling, probably.
Or you just wanted to play 2 scape nets.
Yeah, scape nets also.
Yeah, the scape net thing almost worked, right? You got like top cut or
Yeah,
something?
it came second.
Yeah,
I
it
think
almost worked.
it was an excellent meta call, and you know that's what we're all about. So people might have noticed that we've had some new cards come out, and now we have all the new cards. We know every new card which we're going to be able to play with. I mean, shall we just? I think we should probably just dive straight in. I was going to go through this in kind of set order, was my vague plan. Because it's easy and I won't get lost, hopefully. So
that's not organized on the actual tier list, but that seems like a reasonable way to
okay, yeah, that's fine. I am going to close this page so I can skip between the two of these easy enough. So we'll I always think here the IDs are the hardest thing, and let's quickly look at our tier. What I thought we'd do in terms of like actually ranking these is this is purely we're just going to do power. We're just going to do our like vibe, thoughts, power level. Andre and Yusengrin have sort of cornered the market for doing the slightly more kind of, you know, where does this fit in terms of the in terms of all the various channels. That is obviously a bot. Please don't click on whatever that says to do. I will work out how to get rid of that in a second. And yeah, so S tier probably broken, possibly going to get banned. D tier might see play once on a WooTube, right?
Yeah, we here at Tiebreakers only care about one thing, and it's how many AMTs will the card win. So we're just going to rank it based on that.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. That seems pretty solid. Hello, Phil. How you doing tonight? And very good to see you as well, Veronica. Nice amount of people in chat today. Very, very good stuff. Okay, so we're going to start out with Seb. Now, the IDs are always like the hardest thing in terms of saying like, how do you rank this? So I think the easiest way for us to do this is kind of consider where other IDs fall on this list. And I mean, we could say like Hashiko is S tier, like
for sure.
Lou is maybe A tier currently.
Lou is S tier currently if you compare to Hashiko, right?
Questionable. I think Lou only does one thing. Is like Lou has one deck. Lou has one deck.
Yeah, but if the deck is fucked up, the deck is still like ID is still top there.
I think the fact that you can do more things in Hashiko makes her like S tier. Lou is like A tier, very solid A tier. I don't think he's quite S personally. We can argue.
Seems
like I guess numerous one.
That maybe Hashiko should get its own tier above everything else because she's just that versatile.
She is.
Let's stick with the ones that are here.
And then, you know, like I don't know, B tier, I guess, like is what, like we'd be thinking like Freedom. It's probably B.
I'd put my personal favorite Ken at B probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like Esa is A tier, right?
Who is, sorry?
Esa.
Yeah, Esa I think is A tier. Esa is solid A tier.
I think like Sebastian is really similar to Esa, that you kind of have your set of cards that you are building with. And it feels like it's around the same power level.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So, actually, you're coming in with Sebastio being A tier, and that's interesting because, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree, but he's definitely doing his own thing, right? Like he's got his own plan.
Yeah, the difficult thing is that he's doing his own thing, but is going to achieve basically the same result as like a Reg Hoshiko deck with companions and whatnot, which is just having a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it feels like it's going to be very competitive with that Reg Hoshiko plan in terms of how much money it can make. and how much multi-access it has. So it like Seb is basically just the part of Hoshiko that can do money, which we'd put at A tier alongside the Lu, I think.
Okay. What about the fact that like quite a bit of Seb's deck is always going to be pretty much preordained for you? It's not like you can go, well, I'm going to do this in Seb, I'm going to do this in Seb. It's like you can obviously twist him in certain ways, but he is narrowing your options down, because if you're not getting, if you don't have enough connections in your deck to get the benefit from it, and you don't have enough sort of tag interaction, then you're losing his ability. So do you think that's bringing down his power level because it's a bit more unique in terms of what he does?
Well, you kind of have to, yeah.
If we want to consider how he'll look after next rotation or something like that, that probably knocks him down a couple of points because his future will be uncertain. Mm-hmm. But just for this current meta, I think he has enough things to knock down points. Like, I don't think you can fit all of the new connections into a sub deck and call it a day. You're gonna have to pick and choose some things that pull you in different directions.
Yeah, like I think the biggest problem with Sebastian currently is like the matchup variance that can happen. If like R+ is some meta deck again, Sebastian might like feel pretty bad when you give your opponent 2 credits every turn.
Yeah, so this is my other thing. Like, there is a deck at the moment which is going to feel awful to play Sebastio into. And at almost anything that R+ is going to do, it doesn't really matter. You're going to be kind of taking a tag a turn and giving the Corp 2 credits on not just your turn, but on probably their turn as well. Like, I've played Masterwork into Mari when they're calling hardware, and it's a miserable experience because you just know that you're feeding them so many credits and so much value.
Counterpoint: if you're worried about that matchup, can you not just play 2 of the neutral cards that clears tags and some networkings, and then suddenly they're in shambles because it doesn't cost you any money to clear tags ever?
Yeah, you kind of basically fuck up oppose completely, and their whole win content just loses.
Yeah, just don't click broke trader or whatever.
That is it. I guess that is interesting. So like you're giving them tempo, but you're also ruining their game plan in a way. Okay. It's I'll tell you what, it feels very, very similar to the Essa Thule matchup, right? Like, these are 2 things where you're like, this should be an easy match, and the other side's thinking, this should be an easy match, and it basically comes down to who steals the ontologicals first, or scores.
Yeah, the matchup will be a bit easier because I think it will come down to who like plays better around the weird interactions, right? It doesn't come down to like just randomness.
Don't worry, Jeff. We're doing this purely on vibes. You and Andre can have like a proper hash out about this. Okay, so quick vibes base. Aksu, what are you saying? Give me a letter. Go.
A tier.
Okay, Augustus, give me a letter.
I'll support Aksu on that.
Okay, in which case I'm going to agree. I'm worried that he'll actually end up being B tier, but we're going to go with A tier for the time being.
Let's be optimistic.
No, the card pool is fucked up. Like, you play friend of a friend and stuff, and the tags don't really matter.
Friend of a friend does seem really quite good. Quickly check here. Does he also have to worry about overtag? Possibly. I mean, a lot of his stuff kind of is only good if you don't have a tag and then you take a tag. So that's a kind of point. Veronica saying R+ is giving you a bunch of triggers. That's also a pretty good point, actually. So, they're giving you a tag, but you're installing a connection due to it. So maybe that's absolutely fine. Really interesting to see where that one actually works out. Okay, card number 2. We've got Eye for an Eye. Run event, which allows you to trash stuff. You take a tag. You can only play this if you are not tagged. And you can trash cards from your grip to trash cards that you see. Aksu, why don't you start us off with this? What do you think of Eye for an Eye?
I actually played a couple of games with this in my like Rehearsal deck, and it actually turns out not to be quite worth it.
Oh,
Like the one extra access is not enough, and the clearing of the tag is actually pretty annoying. But where this will shine is like if you put it into a Sebastian deck, charge up your twinning, access 4 cards, and just trash everything that matters. But like the tag is a real cost in the card.
There's also B1001 just wrecks on this card pretty hard, right? Like
No, because the tax comes after your run is successful, so they cannot stop the run anymore.
Apologies, it does. I thought it was at the start. Okay, Augustus, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good Seb card. I'm with Aksu thinking that this probably doesn't do anything outside of Seb, but it also it's kind of hard to fit in Seb decks even. Like you kind of be on Manuel to like get extra accesses to use this with if you're
like Manuel plus twinning, and then you just
twinning.
Hit central server. And like you probably need to have stuff that you actually want to trash in hand, which is probably the hardest part in Sebastian.
Yeah.
But when you hit a steel skin scarring with this, it feels so great.
Yeah. Okay. There is one place where I possibly see this, and it's not in standard, but it is in Startup Lou, and I've just realized that Lou has gone, or is he still? Was he Gateway? Is Lou Gateway?
Gateway, yeah.
Okay, fine.
All 44 IDs were in Gateway.
Yeah. So Startup Lou is the one place where I can possibly see this. We've been given a little bit more recursion. That's an interesting place for it. I think I agree. I think when when this came out, I thought it looked really, really good. I think this is quite hard to slot. And I don't know who wants to play it apart from Sebastian.
We established that we only cared about AMT wins, and there's no startup AMTs, so irrelevant point about that, I think.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So I think we've got like some pretty decent ideas here. So Eye for an Eye, if I can find it by the art, and I'm really sorry, Augustus, if you went
it's the forest one.
Did all of these. There we go.
No, they're ordered by file name, which turned out to be quite erratic.
No, that's absolutely fine. Eye for an Eye, Aksu, what are you saying?
B or C? I guess C.
Okay. Augustus?
I believe enough. I'll give it C. Or not that, B. That's the higher number.
I think it's C tier. I
guess B is fine then. I'm kind of borderline.
Also, addressing a comment in the chat, I think all of us internally have been pretty down on the Seb deck that floats tags, right? We're all
yeah.
But it's like I don't think it's impossible for that to be workable, but I don't think any of us see it being that good.
Yeah.
So your plan is to not ever let the Corp Cards your stuff.
I think we're putting in C. I think it's
yeah. On that point, I've been overruled. I was just.
If you both were on B, why are you putting it to C now?
Eh?
I thought.
I think it's C tier. I'm C.
Oh yeah.
We can always shift things around, but I tend to find that otherwise we'll end up with like a ton of stuff in B tier.
Yeah, totally.
Let's be harsh. Okay. Next card. Privileged Access. A run event where we can, if it's successful, we take a tag, we install a resource from our heap, paying 2 credits less, which is a very nice amount to pay, and we can possibly get a program back if the threat text is relevant. Threat free, so it's not like it's possible to get stuff going here. What do we think of Privileged Access? Augustus, do you want to kick us off with this one?
Yeah, so I think this is one of 2 reasons to be on Seb. I think the other one I'm thinking of is the Manceras crew. I forget what the actual. But I think this is one of the better cards in Seb, just because it lets you do so many so many busted stuff. Reinstalling 2 cards for 1 click, getting a tag for your stuff, being an econ card as well, just because it discounts your friend of a friend or something like that. I don't know if all of that warrants it being S tier. I don't think so, because it seems harder to justify outside of Seb, so it probably just goes alongside him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
But I
it's
like
still the
card
only
a lot.
card that I think might go outside of Sebastian from all of the Anarch pool this set. So I think it's like around
Yeah.
Seb's power level still.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I can see this in like criminal decks which have ways of removing tags cheaply, and
Yeah.
I can I can potentially even see this in certain shaper decks which are doing certain shenanigans, because recurring recurring a resource is like a pretty uncommon thing which you can do, and the like double recursion option here is like potentially really strong and something which shapers do care about.
There was some mention early on in the spoilers about using this with deep dive, but I think
Mhm.
the new Crim thing that works with wheels to give you extra clicks is probably a better include in those decks now that we've seen the whole set. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but
It's
I
not
think you're playing
strictly
both. I think you're playing all of them, and you're getting like
that.
9 clicks on a turn.
Yeah, well, I can see that. I don't think it's enough to put it in an S tier, right? Because that's not a sure thing that it's good, but
Yeah.
it's like very good.
Alex mentioning that Crim likes this because it helps them with the rig shooter matchup, which I think is pretty relevant. I like that.
Okay, that might actually be enough for S tier, because that's a very big problem that Crim has.
Yeah, I mean, you've already got a be at threat free, but I guess that is a thing.
And the
I
problem
think
is that you don't have any other ways to use the threat text, right? In Crim.
True.
I guess bankroll if you're
Yeah.
stable.
But like, I have never understood like taking for the as rig shooter matchup when you just lose it anyways, even if you take for it.
That's fair. Weeble is saying it has a lot of words, so it must be good. I mean, there's going to be some really good cards if we work on that one. Okay, let's pick some letters. What are we thinking about privileged access? I personally, I think this might be an A tier card. I think the amount of value which it gets is kind of nuts.
Yeah, I think it's A tier. It's if you think about it, you get like 4 credits and a double, and you install a daily cast and a fermenter sometime, and that's like sicko mode value.
Yeah, I think A tier at least.
Sweet. Okay. Now we got an interesting one. Who would like to introduce this card, including pronouncing it? Amanuensis, I believe, is something close to what we have. This is the Anarch console from the set. It's 1 MU. It's only 2 credits, which is nice. It has the ability to draw 2 cards if we jump through some hoops.
Can you just put it on in D tier automatically, and then we can talk how bad the card is?
Okay. Hit me.
Yeah. There's some thought about just playing a million NFLs with it, and it maybe does something, but
Yeah, but you don't
just play
play more
Patchwork.
then, and more is like busted card.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like it was revealed at night for me, so I woke up, thought it was like Obelus, but it's nowhere near. So
No.
it's like a scam of a card.
Okay.
Also, on the pronunciation side, I do volunteer to pronounce all the Portuguese cards, but I think that's just a hard to spell English word. So, your job.
So one thing that's really interesting about this is that earlier I thought, you know what was kind of interesting, because I was trying to decide what we were going to do tonight, and one of my ideas was like, let's build some startup decks, because like startup is really interesting all of a sudden. So I was just kind of tinkering around building some startup decks. Do you know what draw is left in Anarch faction with the rotation in the startup card pool?
Basic
It's the
draw
criminal
action.
draw. Yeah, basic click.
It's the basic click and Lago, and that is basically it. So,
I mean, Lago's a lot of draw though.
well, yeah. But I can see that being an issue in startup, and so I can see this getting some play in startup. Yes.
I think I play Carnivore over this. Legit.
Okay, but maybe let's not go there.
Well, it's all right. There's a card that's going to come up, and I'll talk about Carnival more there. There's also a chance that, like, I feel like there's a chance that Criminal could play this. Like,
Criminal influence.
Yeah, you played two of them.
Just import like 2 diesels, and you're already better than this. And like Hermes is so good.
Yeah.
And you have to float tags as a criminal, where everything just gets trashed.
It would be a hard sell if this was 1 influence, but it's 3. That's a lot.
I guess 3 is a lot. Like even at 2 influence. At 2 influence, I could see it being better. Is there any way we play this in Shaper and charge it?
No.
No. Good. Right.
Panda doesn't have a console, so maybe.
Okay. So what are we thinking about this card? Aksu, give me a letter.
I said it already. It's a D card.
Okay. Augustus, what are you saying?
I would love to be charitable, but I'm going to put it in D tier as well.
Wow, then I don't think I can disagree. I think draw 2 cards is like a really good thing, but we do have to jump through some
install verbal plasticity and just click for the draw.
Yeah.
And that's like better value already.
Okay, wait. I have maybe a hot take. What if we can play the Manuel card as our only resource in Hoshiko and play Tag Me stuff, and maybe it does something there. That seems like that deck seems like it's not ever above C tier, but if Ball wants to put it in C tier, I can maybe get up there.
I think we're going to put it down here for now. And
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
just natural.
Yeah, I feel like we could be wrong. I feel like there might just be decks which do just like float a single tag for a turn and are safe and fine with that, and they maybe don't run resources. So like in that case, like it's kind of not in Sebastião, so I don't quite know what that deck's doing, but we'll find out. Okay, we have Limes's champion card here. It's a hardware. We can do a quest, run all 3 centrals, and then we can tutor almost anything from our deck with like a few asterisks around the word anything. Let me just quickly point out, so people talking about amanuensis, a Wild Turtok says, I think it's really bad. The hoops are just pure garbo. Yeah. Veronica's suggestion, it only costs 2 credits for an MU. Is it a mem chip? There we go. Maybe not the worst. Jeff pointing out, I was trying to time this to make sure we didn't go more than 4 minutes per card. Jeff already warning me about the amount of time we're going to take, but I'm going to move things along fast, maybe. Wizard's Chest. Right. Aksu, first thoughts.
I hit the meme twice today, and I lost both of the games. So, like, it's not going to see play in, like, reg decks. You just will tutor some, like, busted combo piece only. I think that's the only reason to play this, really.
Yeah, and by the meme, Aksu is talking about Wizard's Chesting turn 1, right? And you just
finding a more for turn 1.
Yeah, getting a 6 cost console down turn 1 for no credits apart from free runs. Augustus, initial thoughts.
Yeah, I was really high on this early on, but I also got a couple of games on, and it is a lot harder to get actual good value of, because like you need a lot of things to line up. including like having dirty laundry at the right time, or else you're kind of wasting a lot of clicks,
Yeah.
which you can't afford to do early on.
Yeah, typically you can just play like a econ card and you get same amount of value. It's really only for like twittering a must-have card instantly.
That's fair.
That must-have card will be the Assassin's Dagger.
Yeah, but
I don't know how much feel about
it.
Yeah, I think
we will get to the Assassin's Dagger at some point, and I have something to say.
Yeah, I think
I can promise you that Assassin's Dagger will win 1 AMT, because I will make it happen. So this can't be DJ.
Look, we can't jump ahead, all right? We've got to do Wizard's Chest, and I think a big part of this card is that it came out in a set alongside another thing, which has the exact same setup needed, and this thing can tutor that thing. I think as a card on its own, it is very situational and very, very tricky. But the fact that it has come out with something else which might make it incredibly playable is a bit scary. There's probably something nonsense that we can do with this in Eternal. Haven't quite worked that out yet.
Right. Even if it goes into like Assassination Dagger deck, it's still going to be a tier 2 or tier 3 deck where this is like only seeing play.
Strong words. Okay. Wizard's Chest. Aksu. Give me a letter. B?
C.
C. Augustus.
I'll be realistic and agree with Aksu.
I was going to give it a B based on another reason, but I'm going to go C due to that. Okay. Excellent work. Okay. Yeah, boy. Tata. This is a killer. It's 1 MU. It's 1 strength. And its numbers are a bit jank. 2 credits to break up to 2 sentry subroutines, and 3 credits to boost free strength. However, if you trashed any install programs this turn, paid abilities on this program cost 1 credit less to use, which is really, really interesting because it's basically like they strapped a slightly worse turn. It wasn't turning wheels. It was training wheels. There was a card from like Off the Grid last year or the year before, one of CTE sets, which just said you can attach this to any card and change one of the numbers by 2, and it was like the most busted card because you could just change it. Like, I think people were patchworking stuff out for without having to trash a card. Like, it got really, really silly.
Yeah, that ability seems really busted on a card that doesn't have horrible numbers like this one.
Yeah. So immediately we're not loving this. We're not loving this snake. What are we thinking?
The numbers are horrible at the start, and the numbers just get like regular bad sentry breaker bad at some point. Like, what does this break well, even after trashing?
Okay. Compared to the rest of the Anarch card pool.
Yeah, you just import your breaker like a real Anarch.
Okay. Augustus, what are you saying?
I, at a glance, don't see a reason to play this over like Num.
Yeah, Num is better. Odora is probably better. I think you reach at least the same numbers after you have like your virtuals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if
I
you
just
have
can't see it. And like, you have to trash your own table, and what are you consistently trashing in Anarch?
Well, lots of things. I think there's more because like you're immediately drawn to the fact that you need to trash programs or hardware. Like, you don't. So if you just finish off a daily casts on your turn, this gets the boost. If you've got a liberated that you can like clear the last 4 credits off, this gets a boost. I think like, if you're playing a boomerang, if you're playing boomerangs, this gets a boost. Like, I think that I think you could very consistently get the boosted option. It's whether that boosted option is actually good.
Yeah, you have to jump through hoops to get like a mediocre breaker.
It doesn't break Anansi well at all, even boosted, or the new Anaconda card.
No, it does need support. It needs additional support anyway. Like you need an ice carver and the boosted ability, and then it's all right. Maybe.
Yeah, or you could
Yeah.
just play Turbine though. If you're doing that much work.
Okay, we're not loving it.
Yeah.
Aksu, give it a letter while I find it.
I think it's D, legit. It will see almost no play.
Yeah, I'm
Interesting.
gonna have to concur.
Wow. Okay. I thought it was bad. I didn't think it was quite that bad, but there it is. It's in D tier. With an ice carver, it's better than Carmen. It's a better Carmen. I think, yeah, with an ice carver, it's a better Carmen, but I guess that's quite a lot of setup, and you've still got to do stuff. Okay.
Yeah, you still have to jump through hoops.
I mean, that's what Anarch's all about this set, clearly. Like, jump through some hoops, get some stuff. Heliamphora. Now, here's a card. It's a program virus. It's 1 MU. It says, whenever you would access a card in Archives, you may host it face up on this program. Instead, it is not installed. Use this ability once each time you breach Archives. It's not unique, and it says when the Corp purges virus counters, they trash 2 cards from HQ at random. Trash this program. Augustus.
So I've heard that a lot of people are high on this in like mulch and stuff, and I'm probably going to play one in my mulch decks out of peer pressure because I can see how this is powerful sometimes, but I am not completely convinced that this does enough.
Interesting. Aksu.
Well, it is a like direct tiebreakers nerf with just ruining the matchup for Restoring Humanity or like Infusion Punitive decks.
I'm going to have some strong opinions about how this does nothing against Deck Infusion Punitive, but
you just cannot die from Archives, basically.
Yeah. If you can't die from accessing Archives, you can still die from Archives Ice, which is how I kill most people.
The other thing is that RH could just start importing tumor viruses, which was always an option anyway. And then if you have one on hand, then you can purge after they say we're going to access, right? Like, so you're like, would you like to access Archives?
Yeah, I guess that's right.
And then you res and purge, and then they don't have it anymore. Now, obviously, that you'll lose 2 cards from hand doing that, but RH doesn't normally mind about that too much.
Well, you lose your punitives from hand.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, you're going to draw into more, is the plan. I agree that I don't think it works in those decks, like mulch decks. I think Jeff just said the same. Doesn't belong in mulch. I do think that this card will be responsible for winning at least 1 AMT.
For sure.
And I think that deck will have 3 of them in it, and I think it will be horrendous. And I don't know what that deck is yet.
Something like a Freedom deck that just charges Yusuf and sits on a pile of fermenter counters or something.
The problem is, why are we not doing all of those things with Acacia, right? Because unless we're having...
No. So there's a really, really big reason for this, because so Acacia has this like, if you purge, then it's bad, but it's not bad for the Corp, it's good for the runner, which is like gives you stuff going forward. It means that you can do more stuff with money, which is good. But what it's not doing is saying if you purge, it's going to be a really bad situation for you. And if you can kind of manifest a situation where you just constantly are putting these things back on the board, but also have a reason that the Corp has to purge for some reason or another, and there are
15
reasons.
Different engine pieces.
But if that's the whole thing your deck does, then that's
your opponent
all it
just
needs to
doesn't
do.
purge. Like, what are you doing that force mandates a purge, like Aumaku or something?
Well, that's it. So that's what the deck has to find. If you can find a way of going like, you are going to have to purge, then that's when this becomes really, really scary. So that deck will be out there somewhere. It's going to win at least one competition. It's going to win at least an AMT. Potentially there's something more broken and someone comes up with it. I think like it's a funny one because like I could be really, really wrong here. I would argue about putting this in S tier, and I know both of you will argue against that. But I think it will end up being completely busted, and I hope it this is here somewhere, right?
But like S tier, as in it'll win an AMT and then the next day it'll get banned, or
yeah,
because if it wins, okay.
I think it's like
ambitious.
I think B is fine for a card that will win like one AMT and then never see play again.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
16%. You both want it in B tier, don't you?
It can win the Finnish nationals, I guess.
I'm like leaning towards C, but if Aksu is being responsible,
I think I'm B.
Okay, sure.
I think somebody can do something with it.
I'm putting it here. I believe it's here, and we will see. We will see what happens. I see potential for this card being a horrendous thing. Utati's calling out Trapano. That's a good reason to have to purge, or it's a reason, I guess, every 5 turns. A Wild Turtle is pointing out that it's not a cost but a triggered effect. That is true, but so the Corp can purge on an empty HQ, but if you're forcing them to have to do stuff all the time, I don't know.
All the time, you need to purge once. How are you? Then you build like 15 turns to get the whole setup back again.
Someone clip this so that I can play this back in like 6 months. All right. Okay. Here's a card. This is Augustus.
I don't say this. I don't say this.
I don't say this.
Or there is no M. I
let Augustus say it.
Yeah, I'll call it the crew.
Yeah, this is my Asgard. This is the hill I'm dying on.
Okay, so this is a CD connection. It says take 1 tag when the ice you are encountering gets -2 strength for the remainder of the encounter, and then you can trash the ice you're encountering. Its strength is 2 or less by trashing this and paying 2 credits. Hey, Cable Carnage, how are you doing today? Phil coming straight in saying this is an easy A. I assume that's for this card. And I would potentially agree. I think that this could be pretty strong. This has.
I just kinda don't see it.
You don't see it? The fact that this works with Leech, which is like the whole thing which Chisel never did. This seems like
so are you using it as like ice destruction or something?
Yeah.
Or just the -2 effect?
No, I'm just. Yeah. I mean, a bit of both, but I'm just destroying all of their ice. Like this is a card which allows you to just destroy all of the Corp's ice, which we haven't had for a long time.
Now, I haven't actually done any of this, but the play pattern I see is you have 2 of these out. You use one of them for -2, and then leech for the rest. Mm-hmm. And then you use like that second copy that you have to trash the ice. Then you privilege access to get it back, trash another ice. And I think that whole play pattern is the reason to be Seb over anything else. Because just like getting rid of Corp defenses over time seems like a really beneficial effect.
Yeah. These are not removed from game. These are not unique. And they are now easily recurrable. We have ways of easily recurring this card in Anarch. I think this is really, really strong, and we don't have. We technically have 1 card in the format which you can't trash with this, and it's a very awful card.
The
Lotus Field. Yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
It's Lotus Field, the card that you cannot trash.
No, actually, so there's 2. So
there's a different one?
Yeah. There's another one because there's one which I played in IG to stunt on the worm deck, and it's a barrier self.
Yeah, but that one isn't in standard, right?
That's in standard. I think
Yeah, I
it is
think
actually
just
still in
general.
standard. Self-adapting
Right.
code wall. I think it's still legal. You wouldn't ever play it, but I think it's still
That's
legal.
crazy.
I could be wrong.
If
Anyway,
my opponents are playing either of those, I'm pretty happy, I think.
yeah, exactly. There we go. It's still
Apparently it is in
legal.
standard.
Yeah. It's red sands.
Uh,
Right. I think
Yeah,
so. Aksu, you're less keen on this.
I hadn't considered like the ice destruction angle at all. I just looked at the numbers and went like that's worse turbine basically.
Yeah, I think if
But
you're only using it as turbine, then it's not great. I think the fact that
yeah,
you
if you
can
can,
just
there is
destroy
like a critical point where you have enough like ice destruction. Like if you combine this with hippos and maybe a chisel's charm or something.
Yeah, I don't think you
It,
need the chisel though. Like I think this does what chisel does, but better.
yeah, but
Yeah,
like there is a number where you just have enough ice destruction.
Yeah, and Hippo
But
naturally combines
yeah,
well with this because you can clear small ice very, very trivially. And
Yeah.
then that just leaves big ice exposed for Hippo.
yeah, I can see it. Although yeah,
Okay, where are we going?
I'm gonna put it S tier.
Okay,
mm,
I'm personally like A tier, but I could see it being S tier. Aksu, what are you thinking?
like I went into this thinking it's like B or something, but yeah, I haven't just thought about it long enough. So I'll say S tier.
There we go. It's going in
Yeah. When
S.
Augustus wins all the tournaments, I can say that I was in the correct camp.
Cable Khan is saying, I wonder if you can remake stabby decks with this. I mean, we have suddenly been given a lot more recursion. I think we can just kind of destroy a lot of things. And yeah, it combos with things like Devil Charm as well. If you need to get rid of a really big piece of ice,
Yeah, like something like a brand you just devil charm down or
yeah,
something.
just gone, and that's been the big thing which Glacier decks have been able to do for a while is like, I'm going to play a couple of really nasty big pieces. What if those pieces just disappeared? Okay, next up, we've got Friend of a Friend. This is a free cost connection. It has two abilities to either gain money and remove a tag or gain money and take a tag. This seems pretty amazing in Seb. Does it go anywhere else?
No.
Yeah, I think this is like exclusively the three first cards you put into a sub deck.
Yeah.
And
It, like
nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah, I agree. You just try to combine this with the new wheels combo or wheels like the criminal card.
Yeah,
But yeah, like it's only Sebastian basically.
that's interesting. I don't totally disagree with that, but it's only one influence. 9 potential credits is a lot of potential credits, even if you have to take a tag. But if you're installing this for like 0 credits out of Arasana and you suddenly need 9 credits to run a remote, like it's like kind of like a stim hack on a stick, right?
This might actually be a good World Tree target because it installs for 0 off it, and either clears you attack in the case that matters, right? Or gives you So it might have a small niche there.
Yeah, Utati's asking
9
what
credits.
wine pairing is with this free course connection, and it's half a bottle of Blue Nun. Okay. What are we saying for tier wise for a friend of a friend? When are you calling him? All the time or just when he's needed?
It's kind of interesting to place because it's a card that goes into like all Sebastian decks, and Sebastian is in A tier.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of mandating putting the card next to Sebastian, I think.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Yeah, like straight next to, not next to the other side.
Yeah, I don't see it being quite that good. I see it being very good. And as much as like it enables Sebastian, it's not like all it's doing is like potentially giving you some good money. I think this is B tier. I think this is a good card.
Do you think there's ever going to be a Sebastian deck that doesn't play 3 of them?
Yeah, but that's not saying that this is the power of Sebastian. Like, I think Sebastio has other power.
Well, but if we're counting the amount of times that a card will win an AMT, this will go. Like, this will get the exact same amount of wins as Sebastian, right?
Yeah, like
my thought.
Well, I think we have to consider like the combo of the two cards, not the card by itself. Like Sebastian without this card is notably worse. Like I think Sebastian without this is in B tier as well.
Interesting. Okay, so these are kind of. I kind of want to put this here, just so that they're next to each other.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Weeble saying this is pretty bad into big oppo. 2 clicks to remove a tag for free and gain 2 credits is kind of okay. Yeah, it's like not too bad.
And like,
Sorry.
It's
you install it for free if they oppo you, right? So it's just extra money to clear your
oppo.
I think you pay one.
Yeah, I think it's
okay. Then you install
pop it for credits, and then you clear everything. And if you're playing like the networking plus the card that clears tags for cheaper, you can pop it for 9 and clear the tag basically. So it's then a like lucky find or something.
I might have to overrule you both on this. I can't put this card in A tier. I can't do it because it
is your tier list.
It's just well, it's kind of not, but like this card alone is not A tier. And as much as like I agree with what you're saying about Sebastio, it's B tier.
You can put it in some shaper deck or something.
You can
I put my star card in S, so I'm happy with this tier list no matter how it shapes.
Okay. Manuel Lattes de Moura. This is a connection which gives you additional accesses if you are tagged when you breach HQ or R&D. It comes with a little additional threat text, which makes it a bit harder. Phil saying that this has Sunny on it, so it's instantly A+ tier. It does, but this is like massive character assassination of Sunny. So interesting, you know. What do you think about this card? Augustus, talk to me.
Yeah, so I've seen people try to do some really suspect things with this, like combine it with Eru or whatever. But now that we have the Aru and Ceres crew, it's just always on, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a free access. So I think it goes in subdecks as your solution to multi-access.
Mm-hmm.
And don't try to get too fancy with it, or else your deck will be very bad.
Yeah, I can't see this outside of Seb and ever. Like maybe like 1 or 2 Crim decks which are doing something funky with tags, which is an option for them now, but like yeah, I think this is a Seb only card really.
Yeah, they're like, I could see it eventually doing something elsewhere, but it's very not obvious how he does it.
Right? Like Sebastian plays like eye for an eye with this, and it's multi-access. Like Hot Pursuit with this is also like really nice. Sebastian just has enough stuff to get this online. Also like the crew that we just spoke about.
You can also, if you're on rogue trading, you can just click a rogue trading, then run R&D for 2 cards.
Yeah, and then just
the tag.
Yeah.
Is it good? I think this is pretty low down here. I think this is C tier.
I think it's A tier with if you're putting friend in A B tier, like this goes right next to the friend.
Yeah, I'm
basically like the same card.
This is I can see it not being A tier because there will be some sub decks that don't play it.
Yeah, but some like
I think
it's
good enough in sub decks to warrant a high place.
Yeah, I just don't see it out. I don't see it anywhere outside of sub decks. I see friend of a friend potentially seeing something out of sub decks. I see Heliamphora seeing play outside of sub decks. I don't see this seeing the light of day outside of sub decks at all. And
It's
I
like
don't think
Multex is
it's
on R&D or HQ for 2 credits.
yeah. One extra card. Is one extra card good enough? Mercury would
Like,
disagree.
What else are you playing as your win condition is Sebastian?
It's
Wow.
double as many.
That's going to be the question, isn't it? That's going to be the question. Okay, we'll leave it in B for now. I think this is one of Sebastian's weakest cards myself, but we shall see. Meeting of Minds. We're on to some criminal cards. This is one of the last things to be spoiled here. This is an event. It allows us to choose a connection or a virtual resource. And we can search and we can install that, and it gets cheaper if we've got either connections or virtual resources in our hand. I'll start on this one because this is a bit of an interesting one, because this is the first time we've been able to properly find a virtual resource, properly tutor a virtual resource. We've had Gachapon, which has been like a okay way of maybe finding some virtual resources. This gets us one, which does open up some interesting play patterns in Crim. Is this played outside Crim? Is it played in Crim? Augustus, what do you think?
I am not a big believer, so I ran some rudimentary maths, and for it to cost 1, you have to be playing 20 of the resource in your deck, and that's like making some very generous assumptions about how your draw pattern. So it's like almost always going to be a worse hostage, unless you're like emptying a maybe or whatever.
Yeah, and hostage did not see too much play, right?
Yeah, you need some very, very specific things for it. Like the one specific thing that you can do with it is that it is less influenced than Class Act. So if any deck that wants to play more than one Class Act outside of Crim, this does something for it, I guess.
Yeah.
But all other uses will be very niche,
I think the only use in like normal criminal decks is just finding your one-off twinning super early.
Yeah, I think that's a very good reason for it. I think if it was less influence, then you might see it in other decks to find DJ. But Crim is the one faction that doesn't really want to find DJ, unless you're maybe doing like DJ Seb and playing that kind of like mind game.
Yeah, just
the
don't see
problem
it
with
anywhere.
doing this for twinning is that it's almost always going to cost 3, right? Because you have 3 virtuals in your deck.
Something like that. Yeah, it's really expensive to find your twinning, but if you have so much money and you really need to find your twinning and you cannot fit 2 in, you kind of have to play this. So that's like the only place where I can see it at all, and I think that's even a pretty bad place for it.
Yeah.
You just import draw or something and just draw your cards normally.
Yeah, if you randomly have like 2 Class Acts in hand, you can technically name connection, even if that's not your main plan, and get a miss bones. So I could see it being seen. It's not like maybe all of this gets it out of D tier, but not much higher than that.
Yeah, but then you have to put it in your deck, and it's often just a dead draw.
I think it's C tier at best.
Yeah, that's at the best. So
I
think it will see more.
D-tier.
It at least has a use. Maybe someday there will be a messed up card that you need to tutor for, or you play this in Eternal for finding deck traders or something. So I can see it being in C tier, because I will not see any use for the cards in D tier currently, like 0.
Yeah, I think there's decks where you can play this and you'll be happy because you want to play a one of something and you want a way of finding it. I don't see it being better than C tier right now.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay, what about our window of opportunity, which is a runabout event which allows us to install a program or a piece of hardware from our grip. Then we can run a server, de-res a piece of ice on that server, and then the Corp can re-res the piece of ice after the run, ignoring the costs. What do we think about this?
It's lost support, I guess. But like realistically, I think it's pretty good. You get the free click to install stuff. Then you de-res a
that's pretty
card.
good.
Like you play against PD, you de-res their brand. Nobody will want to res it for free or like pay 6 extra.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty new to Crim, but this feels like it's a strict, like not strict, but like in almost all situations where you'd be playing an inside job, you'd rather play this. But Crim decks aren't playing inside job, and I think that this will fall into a similar camp.
If your opponent has enough money, I guess you don't want to play.
Yeah.
You want to play inside job and like over this. So this
Well,
is kind of bad into closing the game out. But like early
Yeah.
game, this is kind of horrific against like PD or something.
They have to have enough money and also have their big eyes on the outermost, right? Which is they're probably not going to if they're playing against Crim.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess maybe so if this pushes inside job out,
It's not
maybe people don't
outermost.
think
You can
about.
just put there like you can de-res any eyes in the server.
Yeah, no, I mean like for this to be worse than inside job.
Oh yeah.
So Cable Carnage pointing out the pretty sick Hermes interaction, and especially nice that you can even install the Hermes using that first install kind of trigger, which is pretty sick. It's one influence less than inside job, which means that something like Shaper can play this. And Shaper has like a lot more programs and hardware which they're likely to want to install, so they can also get the click compression out of this as well.
Yeah, but to influence for a like one-time run event is often kind of.
Yeah, but like Shaper needs ways of cracking remotes every now and then.
Overclock or something.
Have you tried breaking stuff like just with like like that's,
me playing Shaper never.
you can set up your stuff, but like you still need like credits to break everything. If you're saying like, well, how about you try and re-res that? Yeah.
I think Cable Carnage has talked me into this being very good in a Hermes deck, but outside of a Hermes deck, I don't see it. And so if your Arizona is already on Hermes, this could be a thing that you play, I suppose. But if she isn't,
I guess even Arizona you can like Arizona you play this install a Cuban on something, then run and install a second Cuban, and you kind of get free credits at that point. But I think it will probably be an influence issue.
Yeah, mostly.
Okay, what are we saying about window of opportunity while I find the matching picture?
8, yeah, right?
Yeah, if this is going to go in
like
most Crim decks, which is I think where we
like
are.
the one really good criminal card in the set.
Yeah, Crim decks are probably going to win some AMTs, like a good amount of AMTs, and so this gets me. Am I totaling too hard on this bit?
Someone mentioning that Tau may play this. I quite like that as an idea. Like Tau, you want to res their eyes.
It's not influence though.
I have tried fitting influence on Tau decks, and it is not fun. And I would not ever find a spot for this.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We have been called out for not mentioning Saucy, and we will continue to not mention Saucy.
Yeah. I mean, Saucy loss. There's an engine there.
That's a Wootup deck, right? Yeah.
There's a maybe. Right. Wake up, everyone! It's alarm clock. This is a 2-credit hardware. When your turn begins, you may run HQ. The first time you encounter a piece of ice during that run, you may spend click to bypass it. I think this is way better than both of you clearly are about to say that it is.
Oh, I'm about to say that it's going to break the game in lieu. And is unplayable elsewhere? Probably is unplayable elsewhere.
I think it's like really good. Like you install a couple of chessmen and you just get free runs on HQ. I don't think you're like ever going to bypass or use the bypass effect though, but like free click is just really good.
Why wouldn't you use that? Like I mean, obviously you're not going to be using that bypass all the time, but like because this is a free run, then we're only really spending 1 click. Like, like you either make the run and you can bypass an ice and it costs you 1 click, or you make the run, or you don't make the run and then you've saved yourself a click. I think this is like even the click to bypass is better than it seems because the run is free. And if there's any way where we're getting a click back from this, like in Sable, or heaven knows you've put a frickin' Pikachu on the HQ Ice, or there's even more ways of us gaining clicks back now due to other cards, which we'll talk about in a second. I think this is pretty good. I think this is pretty good. Like, we can get basically a free run, like maybe a wake charge. Maybe we're charging up a twinning as we go in as well. Like, that seems great to me. And we get an access. If we're Steve, we get a card back from it. Like, I mean, there's a lot of Crim decks which I can just see playing this because it's amazing value.
I think we're going to disagree on why, but we might agree that it's S tier. That's where I am. I think in Crim, the Corp is already way too incentivized to ice up HQ a lot for this to be that good. But I think this brings Lou to be even more oppressive than it currently is. Just like doing everything that Lou wants, including giving you.
And then you install double Botulus Ice on HQ, just run through for free, and
they can't purge your bypass. And Lou is very happy to spend 2 clicks to get through like a drafter on HQ.
Yeah, especially like after a purge or something.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we saying about alarm clock? And then I can ask you the question, the most important question. Where are we putting this? Augustus.
I'm very high on it going up to S tier, but I don't feel it as strongly as the crew.
Oh, Aksu.
No, I guess like A tier. Just like
I'm more with Augustus on this one.
Might be S tier, yeah.
Okay, we're going S tier then. We're going S tier.
Like loop deck might be busted with this.
Most important question, Aksu. What is your alarm clock sound? You don't have to play it. You do have to imitate it though.
No, I won't. You must catch me on this. I was trying to play it, but you caught me too quick.
Phil, to answer your question, my alarm clock sound is the generic one, which is really horrendous and is on an iPhone, and that's my alarm clock on the weekdays. And on the weekends, when you'd think that we'd all get to sleep in, my alarm clock sound is this. Dad! Dad! Usually. I lie. She always calls out for mum, but I still have to go through. Right. Okay. Let's.
I will answer I have one of the horrible to listen to default Android alarm clocks on weekends as well.
No, I think I have the default one also on my Android phone.
Right. Let's assassinate some heads. Who are these people assassinating? These like heads of state? Like, do we actually?
Some government officials and the president. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's in the story.
Jetino is a weapon, which is fun. When your turn ends, if you made a successful run on HQ, R&D, and Archives this turn, you may add this hardware to your score area as an assassination agenda worth 0 agenda points. Then, if you have 3 assassination agendas in your score area, you win the game. And threat-free, when you bypass a piece of ice, you may spend a click to install this hardware from the heap.
Oh wait, there's a threat card text on this card? That's crazy. I didn't notice.
Yeah. All right, Augustus, you start us off with this.
Okay, so my hot take is that this is going to break the game, but I would prefer we put it in C tier so that people are less prepared when I beat them with it.
How will this break the game? Explain. Like, I think this is the card that will actually start like a civil war in tiebreakers or something.
Or there's going to be a grand schism.
Like, I just don't see the card ever doing anything like in a real tournament.
It says win the game right on it.
if your deck is built around this card, you just auto lose every Glacier matchup in the game and probably lose every PD matchup in the game.
But isn't it better against Glacier though? Because you don't have to worry about their shitty ass agenda distribution.
No, because you have
making
to
it impossible.
run it 3 times like on every server. It costs way too much. You will set up for this like so many turns.
Also,
Like,
Glacier isn't real and can't hurt me.
It won Worlds.
Okay, this will come second. Worlds.
I don't think this will get to Worlds. I think it will be banned before Worlds.
Oh.
I think this is S tier. I think this is so S tier. I think this would be S tier without the threat text. And the threat text just you
play
didn't
one PD and you instant lose. Like,
PD's not icing up all
PE
three
specifically.
Oh, PE? No, there's ways to deal with that. Because
how do you deal with random damage?
Because you can reinstall this from the frickin' heap. This comes back. I think the
threat text does literally nothing ever. Against PE, you just install this whenever you draw it, and then it doesn't get it.
Bob specifically said that this would be S tier without a threat text even.
Without the threat text, it would struggle against things like PE. But this is broken. Sorry, this is so broken.
No, fuck no. Like, I played against Sebastian with this deck, like Asmari deck, and he couldn't do anything.
You just need to build a better Jutinho deck then. Yesengrin is saying that PD installs 1 Managarm and 1 Bran on a central and you lose the game. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say to Yesengrin that I will play 1 Pinhole Threading to trash the Managarm, and then I will run the other 2 things using an inside job to get through the Bran, and then I will...
Alright, you have done it once. Then you have to do it 2 more times. And you have to find your stuff also, like, before that, and you're not using, like, 15 influence on the Wizard Jester.
I just think this feels too very, very possible for a win con. Like, do you know how hard it is to win the game using a freaking borehole? Really hard. I think this is much easier.
You're using like the worst card in the game as the argument. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think that's a very good, hard argument to make.
No, that's the closest thing that we've got to this, because that's the only other card which we've ever been given which says do this and you win the game. Okay, so that's the only other true comparison. No. I have whiffed on too many deep dives to say that deep dive wins you the game. Okay,
deep dive. That's usually.
I have played 3 deep dives. I have played 3 deep dives in 1 game before and not got a single agenda off them. Deep dive does not win
1 in a million
games.
chance or something.
Yeah, but if I'd done this 3 times, I win the game every time. Every time.
You have to do it 3 times, and you even cannot like steal the agendas that the opponent is going to score. Are you going to run the remote at all when you're playing with this?
Yeah, why not? You still have a deck. You've just put 3 cards into your deck.
Money.
The real idea is to light the fire the remotes so that no one can have the agendas. Right. Sure.
Light the fire with what influence?
Okay. I'm gonna be building. I'm worried that I'm probably not going to build anything else for the first 2 months. I'm going to be building Jutinho decks, and they're not just going to be criminal. Right.
So you're importing it for 12 influence.
Yep. Yeah. It's gonna happen.
12 influence that wins you the game, though.
Yeah, 12 influence for something that wins you the game is nothing, right? That's fine.
Biggest copium I have ever heard.
So I think me and Augustus are quite clearly putting this in S tier. Aksu.
Well, I'm gonna do a sys-op here and I argue for it being D tier, just to confuse the minds of my opponents.
No, I'm not accepting it. You're saying it's S tier. I can hear it in your voice. Aksu, if you were going to put it anywhere, where are you putting it?
I think it will win a couple of AMTs because people will love it so much that everybody will be playing it.
Yeah.
But I think it's it will be a tier 2 deck at maximum. So it's B tier, I think. Low B tier.
Well, you've just said it's going to win 2 AMTs, so that's like S tier already.
Yeah, like the other cards are going to win like 15. You're not putting it in S.
I can't not
At
put
least
this in
put
S
it in
tier.
A. It's not S tier. Like,
All right, we'll put it in A tier. We'll put it in A tier, but I think people are going to call for this one. I think people are going to want it on a freaking
yeah,
stick.
Janet casual lobby chat will call for the ban because they lose it against it 3 times.
Easy now. We don't need to start a war against JNet casual chat. That's a war against some people that I don't want to get on the wrong side of. Okay, Cupulation. This is a funky ass program. It's criminal. It's 2 influence. You can limit or you can host 1 card on it that you access, which costs a credit, and then you can also use it as you can use it as multi-access on HQ. Augustus. No, sorry, I'll start with Aksu. Aksu, what do you think of Cupulation?
It's really cool. I kind of see everybody thought it would be like a film critic or something. But like the idea of taking your opponent's single win con out of their deck is like really cool, at least. But
Yep.
I wonder how like competitively viable it will be. I think it probably depends on the meta. I don't think you can place decks like the Table Carnage anymore with this being in the game, but there's some like marginal effect with the additional cards accessed, but I think that's really secondary. You play one and just take their win condition away and try to win that way.
I was going to say, surely like something like Table Carnage only played like one end of a line, right?
Yeah.
So you find the end of a line and you're like, yep, it's mine.
Yeah, and then you just camp that. Like that archetype doesn't work anymore.
And then you lose when you don't check the board enough and they install free Reaper functions. Augustus, what do you think about Cupulation?
I think Augustus went somewhere.
Oh, okay. Wait a second. Okay, so yeah, he will be back in a second. So I think this is really cool. It's one of the cards I'm most looking forward to playing. It was the card I was most looking forward to importing into Shaper until someone released a knife. But yeah, like strength wise, it is a tricky one, right? Because like it does do a thing which no other card kind of does.
Yeah, like you just cannot get it back anyway.
Yeah, I mean that then holds up an MU slot, but if you're stopping the Corp from winning the game, then that seems pretty good.
Yeah, but I don't think it actually will like ever see competitive play too much, because the decks that it wins, you just cannot play those decks unless you like make a method call that nobody's playing it. So I don't think it's like tournament viable, but it's like a really strong card in a really specific situation.
I think that slots it in around B tier sort of level, right?
Yeah, I think B tier is fine.
Cool. We'll see if Augustus disagrees when he gets back. Dan saying that he just stores it second from top in R&D with fundraising.
Then you play multi-access and just like
we'll put down a Pretty Mary and go and get it. Despite being a cup, it is not a match for coffee in the MU slot. Oh, that's one hell of a statement.
It is when in the a couple of specific matchups though.
Yeah, I think Criminal is the place where it's hardest to play, funnily enough. But we should see. Okay.
Yeah, I was away for a second, but I see you've put it exactly where I would have. So that's
B tier. Happy with B tier? I think I'm pretty happy with B tier. Okay, here's an interesting one. Malin Dragum. This is a 4-cost program. It's pretty pricey. It's 1 MU. It comes in with 2 power counters. It gets RFG'd when it's empty of power counters, and those power counters allow us to bypass an ice with strength 3 or less, and at threat 4, we can remove the program from a game to bypass any ice. Lots of RFG statements on this. So really bad in civil chip matchups, but what are we thinking about it? Augustus, start us off.
It seems like it might be a decent card in a very janky Padma deck. That's a home for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it being played in non-Mercury Crim decks, just because they don't have the MU or like the time to do something like this. I don't think Crim decks struggle that much with breaking below strength ice.
Yeah, I guess
It's like that's the opposite of their problem.
If there is like a full PD meta, I think this maybe gets a slot because you can deal with really nasty ice a couple of times. But
just like bypass 2 drafters, your
and a
4 cost
gatekeeper
card.
Like bypassing a gatekeeper is huge.
Oh, gatekeeper.
Yeah.
It works against gatekeeper.
Yeah.
No, you can't bypass a gatekeeper with this because it's
3
6
cost.
strength. It's 6 strength.
I have read the card wrong apparently.
Yeah.
I thought it was about cost.
I thought it's strength. Is it not strength? Wait a minute, I need to go back and read it. I was trying to find enough.
That's how I remember it.
Oh, it's strength, yeah.
It's strength. It's strength.
Never mind.
3 or less.
Never mind. Ghost DTR. It's bad.
Okay. So the one thing which is interesting about this is that we have just been given a resource which we all agree is pretty good, which reduces strength, right? So is there a combo here with the crew to use this more effectively?
This is more influence.
There's a lot of
I feel like if you're using the crew, you might as well just trash the ice instead of install this card out of faction to bypass it. Yeah, that seems bad.
Weeble also saying it's a non-boo with the crew, so I'd have to even look at that.
Oh yeah, this isn't.
Apparently,
this
time
is
doesn't work.
right?
Yeah. Okay, ignore that. So you need Ice Carver, I think, is the only or Monkey Wrench.
Or like Devil Charm, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that was
I just don't see it working anywhere. Maybe in like a jank Padma deck.
I think it's quite bad, even in a Padma deck.
Yeah, specifically jank, like probably a YouTube material or something.
I don't even know if I'm going to be playing this on YouTube. You know, I think
maybe someday.
This is too jankies for boss.
Worrying, isn't it? Like I'd put this in a Padma deck if I was going to play it, and I have so many other things which I want to charge with Padma right now.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, it's that's what's going on. Right. I'm tempted to slot this into D.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will be surprised to see it.
Lovely. Okay.
It's not the worst card in set. It's top of D tier at least. There is some use for it.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about ordering in tiers. That's where we start to get a little bit too much.
Let's make this a 6-hour.
Yeah, exactly. YouTube is going to be all Jettino in the near future. No, I mean, I kind of hopefully not, because hopefully I find a Jettino deck which I think is going to win some shit, and then I'm going to keep it secret. But
we're going to have to play some really bad Jettino decks here just to distract people.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it'll be Jettino decks that I lose with specifically. Okay. We now have Phasarum Entangler, which is a 0-cost program. It's a Trojan virus. It's free influence, which is actually very important, being as it's a Trojan. It's install only on a piece of ice. Not a res piece of ice, that's important to know. Whenever you encounter host ice, if it's not a barrier, you may pay 1 credit for each subroutine it has if you do bypass that ice. And it trashes when it gets purged. I think the obvious things is this is a Mercury card, that's fine. Maybe it's maybe we do see this. I'm sure we will see this in Arasana decks. People are certainly gonna test it. It has the word Trojan on it. Like, let's see what it does.
Would you ever play it over botched listeners?
That's the question, right? I mean,
like Watchlos without a virus cookbook kind of just is a slap bundle.
yeah, I
But
mean,
you
this
can
is
like install this during a run, and it will probably be pretty nice in that thing.
like, I'm just thinking there's certain cards at the moment, like if they res a Cloud Eater on you or something, and you're like, I'm just gonna put one of these on it and pay 3 credits, and then you've resed a 10 cost ice, and it does nothing, and now you've also lost the text that like is relevant on it. That's gonna feel really good.
I mean, the
Really
text
good.
still went off. You still had to take 2 texts. Pretty sure.
Do
It was
Yeah.
announced, right?
Yeah, you have.
Okay.
This
It's
is when
when
an
the
encounter
encounter ends.
Yeah.
It is sad into a Nancy. That is true. I won't lie on that. But
Yeah, but you
you know,
just don't install
like-
this on Anansi. You
The
just
thing is, if you
it's-
get all of that and then the corp just purges and then you can't run that remote ever until you get a second.
you've got you've got 3 simul chips and like probably 3 copies of like Muse. Like you've got a ton of recursion right now. You're okay.
The fundamental problem with this card is that everyone's going to be on 2 virus at least, right? And that is really bad. Yeah, you cannot use this to break ice when the corp hasn't virus out. I don't think ever.
yeah, it really
Unless
depends
you're,
on the price.
I'd have to check. I'm not going to say it on air because I can't work out the timings. But yeah, like I don't know if
I'm confident you can't. And if that
Yeah, I think
disqualifies
so.
me from being a judge in future, I'll take
Not even on like an offer you can't refuse run, I guess. I have to bring it up every stream at least once.
Okay, so it's kind of interesting because it's also like I don't see criminals that aren't named Mercury really playing it. Maybe Steve, who like sticks it on HQ ice.
If you don't play Aumakua, it's kind of mandates the corp to purge just this if you install this on a brand. And if they don't have
You can't,
Movirus,
not on a brand. Not on a brand.
Oh
Does
yeah,
nothing on a
not
brand.
a brand, but like Ansel or something, other
Yeah.
big eyes. And it kind of mandates a purge at some point, or their eyes is just like completely ruined. So I guess you can like play one.
Yeah. It's pretty sick on something like a toll booth, isn't it?
It's kind of like a tap, toll booth or something. Feels a bit like a tap worm or something that you kind of slow the corporation down with, force them to purge this just single thing, and then just continue normal game plan after it.
Yeah, but you only slow them down if they're not on the virus, right?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Rezzing the virus is a cost. But...
Yeah, and like they need to still have the virus in hand or on table.
Yeah, that's
okay.
This is definitely not going to a C tier or something, right? We're talking about
Probably not. I mean, it's interesting because there's like it doesn't work on barriers. It also doesn't work on magnet. It also doesn't work on a Nancy. It also doesn't work on VSA. Like
it also gets destroyed by if they have virus just sitting there.
Yeah,
I can see it like actually being in a competitive deck. So like I would maybe put it in B tier.
I'm gonna go like I think I would put it in D tier.
D tier.
Yeah.
I think it's
really?
C. I'm gonna sit in the middle. I think it's C tier. I think it does have. I think it does see some play. I don't think, but I think it sees playing quite specific decks. So I think this is where it goes.
I guess that's fair.
It's kind of in the middle of what the two of you said. Okay, let's talk about this little birdie, Amelia Earhart. This is a virtual companion. It says whenever a run or HQ, a run on HQ or R&D ends, if you access 3 or more cards during that run, place 1 power counter on this resource. And when your turn begins, you may remove 3 hosted power counters and trash this resource. If you do, the Corp loses 10 credits.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to go first on this one?
I think the stream's not going to like what I have to say about it. So
Okay. Aksu, you go first.
I just really don't know. I like getting 3 or more access is just kind of tough sometimes. And if you are getting 3 or more accesses consistently, you're kind of already winning the game. And the like -10 doesn't really matter at that point. It's kind of maybe good if you can like set up your engine really quickly. Use like Manuel and the new Shaper card. Get like farm 3 accesses, and then you just hold the corporation down. But like that feels a bit too specific and everything. You probably can do some jank Padma stuff, but it not starting with a power counter is really bad for Padma stuff. Like you cannot charge it without a power counter. If it started with 1 and you need 4, it's like as their Padma card, but currently I don't see it.
Okay, I really like that thought because I realized the same when I was thinking about how I'd build this into Padma. Augustus, what are you saying about this card?
Yeah, I don't think this does anything. I think my take on this is that if you build a Padma deck around it and your opponent doesn't have any clue that it's coming, you can maybe get some people.
But even
But
then, it's just like -10 credits.
yeah,
Corporation can live with it.
yeah, exactly. And like, I don't see how this, like, all the things that you need ever work out in a non-Padma deck. So
Yeah, like the card is really, really sick and really cool, but it just doesn't like fit anywhere, I guess.
I'm like ready for someone to prove me wrong and like beat me really badly at something with it, but
Yep.
I'm not.
How are you getting 3 or more access consistently?
Was like the play
Yeah.
would be Maker's Eye exclusively, right? I don't
Maker's Eye legwork, and then you're importing it, then you have to find it kind of early. And
yeah.
Okay, Phil's already calling out where I'm like considering that this works, and I think it works in conduit criminal decks where you can charge this in 1 turn. So there's something that I really like. I'm whether it's powerful or not, I still haven't quite got my head around it, but I really, really love the design of this card because this card is a horrendous prison runner card. Like, can you imagine like 419 playing this about 3 years ago? You'd have been in absolute hell. However, it's the way that what you need to do to get it going goes against all like prison criminal runner decks. Like the best like prison criminal runners are like the deck from UK Nats, which had absolutely 0 multi-access in it. It was just, no, I'm just going to play 419. I'm gonna like add a spicy include to deal with the Ag Infusion matchup, and then the rest of it is just I'm gonna control the Corp, and that's it. And they can't play this card because they can't charge the card. So I think the way it's been designed is amazing because losing 10 credits is a ton of credits. 10 credit, like, Doof doesn't feel great right now because Corps can pop back like pretty quickly. And 5 just isn't a lot, really. 10 is a lot. 10 can make like the outfit feel poor if you can fire like a couple of these in a game.
I will echo this being a very cool card, and if you bring it to a WooTube, I will 100% watch and be entertained. But I don't get how Conduit Zaya does anything with this, because like the scenario is you have a conduit that already has 2 counters on the board, and then you install this and click conduit 3 times. That seems
no, you don't need to have counters.
ambitious.
Oh yeah, I guess you have to have at least like
2 or something, and then
and like if you don't install this on the same
R&D
turn
or something, like you're not running consistently in R&D in criminal.
If you don't install this in the same turn that you charge it up to 3, the Corp just puts a brand on R&D, and then the next time you run R&D, they res it, and then there are like
and
4 credits, and you can get those 4 credits. But is it optional? Can you you can't wait? Can you?
You can. You don't have to use the counters.
Yeah, it's May.
Okay.
It's May.
Yeah, it's at the start of your turn though.
Then maybe that's how this sees play. Is that you just
like you
put it on
jump
3
to 4 and then just like use this as a scoring window.
Maybe.
I don't.
But yeah, I'll wait for people to do that against me, and then I'll be convinced.
I think the other thing is if criminals work out how to include charge mechanics in their decks, then this becomes an issue. But they still have to get that first counter on it. So that's
and then you have to play criminal with imported charge cards without.
Yeah.
So
just losing every other matchup.
Play that and then 3 stone chips and call it a day. Or 2 stone chips. No.
Yeah, Game of Droids is play it in Flux Arasada and charge it in 1 turn. Definitely doable. I can see this. There's shape. I'm more interested in trying this in Shaper, not necessarily Padma, but just Shaper than anything else, because
it's every card for you that you are really interested in what it does in Shaper.
The man has a reputation to uphold.
Agenda. It's CTR, right? It probably will win something just because it's so cool, but not consistently at all.
If we were going for hot takes, we would put it in D tier, but we can be.
I can't put this in D tier because I think this is actually a powerful effect.
But the cost is so hard.
I would be tempted to push it into B, but I think it's right. I think the place where you probably want to play this is criminal, and I think they're going to struggle.
If you want to farm content, you put it in D tier.
Okay.
I mean, or S tier. If you want to put it in S tier just for content, we'll accept this.
Here's a fun one. Julie Moreira, that's a name we've seen before. Julie Moreira Lee is a connection. One of the last things to be spoiled when you install scooped, whatever. When you install this resource, load 4 power counters onto it. That's a lot of power counters. When it's empty, trash it. The first time each turn you take an action on an installed resource, remove 1 hosted power counter and gain a click. This is kind of interesting because I think we're getting to an interesting point in the game where there's a critical mass of click gaining abilities, almost more than there's ever been before, outside of just playing free copies of Hyperdriver in your deck. And these.
This is Hyperdriver value too. Even better.
Eternal combo shank.
I mean, so there's combos here. There's a lot of resources currently which have click abilities, and they're not all weird, janky nonsense. There's stuff
you just play this with a liberated account and you get sick value.
Yeah, liberated account Nuka. Do you want to draw free cards for 0 clicks? Yes, please.
Yeah, I think best include this is probably Sebastian. Sebastian gets this on table for free also, and just 1 influence.
Zombie calling out Red Team, that's a great one. I think Debbie Downtown Morera, that's where we've seen this name again, is just another way of getting a completely free run. The combo with Wheels is insane because you can very easily get 6 clicks in a turn. This is, I don't know, it's a very combo-y card, but it's quite an easy to set up combo card at a low influence and a reasonably low cost.
Yeah, I think you have to be on rogue trading for this to be a sub card with
but
running hot.
You have friendo and everything. I think.
Well, everything. What is everything?
Friendo at least.
Yeah, I think it's only friendo and.
I think it's friend and Wheels.
Well, friendo, Nuka, Wheels.
Nuka is good.
Yeah. And you probably are on rogue trading in Sebastian.
Yeah, well, if you're on rogue trading, that kind of just.
Yeah, if you're playing the good Sebastian decks, you're also on this.
Hot takes. I'm also. I also think it's rogue trading is the correct spell. Yeah. So I'll probably put one of these in my sub deck, but I don't think she's
I think you run out of influence,
The-
and this is worse than rogue training in Sebastian, probably.
Yeah, the effect is esoteric enough that it's kind of hard to justify going all in.
I think that this effect is, it's like you're gaining clicks, which is one of the most powerful things that you can do in the game, like just as a basic thing. But you need to be using those clicks for something. So if you're not interested in doing stuff which requires a lot of clicks, then it's not worth playing. Like paying 2 credits to gain 4 clicks over the space of 4 turns is all right. Like that is not the worst value, but is that you know, like that is a card that you're putting into your deck to do this. That's potentially not the greatest. But if you can do something with those clicks, for instance, I don't know, run all 3 central servers, Aksu, and then
Play a game
score
now and win.
like 3 times. If you can do something with your clicks, this becomes one of the easiest ways of gaining clicks in the game. So how powerful does that make it? Who knows?
It has the problem that it's never a 5th click, right? It's a 6th click with Hannah, but I guess if you want to keep your Hannah around for some reason.
No, it's a 5th click if one of the runs is like you use.
You can play Debbie, and it's like 5th click.
You use Debbie, or you use Red Team, or you. I think I worked out some other things earlier. I can't remember what they were, but there's very easy ways for this just to become a 5th click as opposed to doing the Hannah nonsense.
Yeah, I was specifically thinking of Shaper because I don't think Sable needs extra clicks. That's not Deep Dive Sable's problem. Like the problem is just that she doesn't have an economy and so needs to be all in on this. But in Shaper,
notably Deep Dive Sable, not Jethro Sable, or what's the knife's name?
Yeah. Yeah, well, the knife doesn't need extra clicks, so that's another busted thing about it.
Warlock's just won a game with this, and if there's anyone who knows how to build ridiculous,
move it up.
No, I think it's legit A tier because there will be a deck that's abusing it pretty hard, and it's just really good in Sebastian, and Sebastian is going to be pretty good.
My intuition is to put it in B tier, just because there's a bunch of places it could end up, but none of them are guaranteed to be good, and it won't end up as.
Well, if there's multiple places, there's odds that it's going to be really, at least really good in one of those.
Yeah, I think I want to put it in B tier for now, but I think there's.
It's just hella hype on this card.
I'm massively hyped on it, but I also I'm not totally sure exactly what those decks are doing yet.
Some messed up stuff.
I'll tell you one thing that you can do with it. You can click DLR 1 extra time in Eternal.
That's the busted Eternal combo bingo sorted out. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's this is like, I don't know. There's definitely some stuff you can do in Eternal with this, and I haven't worked it out yet. Okay, let's see what's next. Here we go. Here's a fun one. Burner. We got a 1 credit run event in Shaper, which says run HQ. Well, hey! If successful, instead of breaching HQ, reveal 3 cards at HQ from random. At random, add 2 of the reveal cards to your top and or bottom of R&D. We played 2 games where we were proxying this yesterday, and one of them, Burner, won the game. So is it immediately S tier?
Yes.
Yep, S tier, no further discussion needed.
It just makes Shaper so much better against every deck. You just have to ice HQ now.
Yeah, I think in one of those games we got the disgusting scenario where HQ is not that well defended and you burn exactly 3 cards and one of them's an agenda.
Yeah, there was a
so
fun point there where I realised I'd played a burner with a spin doctor out on the table, and then when there was exactly 1 agenda in there, I realised I could just leave it in HQ and go back for it. Oh, it felt good. Just 2 seconds here, because Lucy's brought up that you can alarm clock plus Julie plus Red Team, or a Debbie run, I guess, like is a way to deep dive using the alarm clock's like clicks through HQ and still having enough. That's pretty fun. Okay. I don't think we put it in S tier because I don't think it's an S tier card, but my hell, I really feel like this is an A tier card.
Well, it's like legit. Arizona will be messed up with this card.
Yeah.
You don't need to import
Like,
tooth anymore.
I'm not memeing when I say to put it in S tier.
Yeah, it's S tier,
Like,
legit.
I'll grant you it's not as good as
Shapers
Arosaurus, but it's like pretty high.
Do you think Shapers can slot 3 of these? Even 2 of these?
Yeah.
Think they've got enough slots?
Yeah, most of them. Like, I think it's better than Alarm
It's your
Clock.
It's your HQ pressure in one card.
Okay.
Opponent just has to ice HQ now, and that's going to slow the corporation down so much.
I'm going to put it here because I want it to be this good. I really want this. I really want Burner to be S tier, so I'm going to put it there.
This can be our tiebreaker's hot take. I guess you already put the knife there, but
Burner S tier is a hot take. That feels like just
like Kuzenkin talked hella shit on this card and like Anarcho Mushroom and
really?
I think so. I remember at least like GLC discussions about that.
Well, we'll prove them all wrong.
So. Yeah. I
think means that I think I overhyped it and they said that like it's not that good. That's talking hella shit.
Okay. What about Spree? We got another run event here. This is 0 to play. It says place 3 power counters on this event, then run any server, hosted power counter, host one installed Trojan program on a piece of ice, protecting the attack server. Really hard to like get your head around that, but so this means that we can play Botulus in Arizona now, right? Do we want it?
Do you have influence for it?
I don't think so. Like, I feel like you just play good cards in Arizona and don't play.
Yeah, and like, why do you need to move all of your? Why do you need to move all of your like Trojans? And how many Trojans do you typically even like install? You have 2 installed at like maximum.
So I think
there's this like breakers and stuff.
I think this is the issue which I have with this, because this feels really, really strong if Arizona's kind of breaking rig is all Trojans, and I don't think it is. Like,
yeah, people aren't playing
cards. Her support cards are Trojans. Her actual breakers are all normal cards, which this does very little with.
Like
like moving Cuban doesn't actually do anything. You just
before all this got spoiled, this had a bit of a niche in Lou maybe, but we're spending 4 influence on Alarm Clock now, so we definitely don't have influence for this. If Alarm Clock's banned, maybe this goes up to C tier or whatever. But until then, it's just useless, I think.
Yeah.
So there is a and Dan's kind of called this out in chat that like if you get this early enough, if you found this early enough and you're like, right, it's time to pivot, then you could play Spree, move all the Kaya bands and your Hush and whatever you've got out onto R&D and start conduit digging. And that feels like the one time when it's like really going to be impactful when like, you're making this pivot.
When you have all of that installed and you have like breakers installed and you have like the conduit installed, that's not early game.
You can do most of that with just UAV, right? Because Pishisar returns itself. You can UAV a cube on.
Yeah, like,
and that's like mostly
you have 2 cards already. That's almost the whole setup already.
Okay, so I think
D tier.
I don't know if it's D. I don't want it to be D.
Arizona is not playing the card, and nobody else will.
Yeah, my vote is
whoa. Okay.
It's like not as bad as some of the cards in D tier.
Okay.
It can be borderline C tier.
I also do disagree with you, Aksu, because I think that this card potentially opens up options for other shapers playing more Trojans without having to be on like this UAV package. Because I think there are like Egret decks out there, and there's Kayaban, and there's Hush is a good reason. So
okay,
I
you
feel
can
like
include this in your tier 5 deck, and it will be tier 4.5.
I so wanted to put it in C tier. Are we really putting this in D tier? Augustus, give me a letter.
I give D, unless you want to make a tier list for the point at which alarm clock gets bound.
No, it's in there. Okay. Trick shot. This is a 1-cost run event in Shaper. It says place 4 credits on this event. You can spend hosted credits during runs, run R&D. If successful, place 2 credits on this event and access 1 additional card when you breach R&D. When that run ends, you may run a remote server.
Yeah, like
Get your head
ceiling
around
here is
that.
so good. Like imagine the ceiling. You run HQ, R&D, and like use all of your credits there, double access, and then you go on like trash something on the remote with the extra 2 credits. It's plus 5 credits, plus extra access, plus 2 extra run. But that's like
the
highest.
floor it's a dirty laundry, which
Yeah.
I'm a hater of, but people seem to put in their decks. So I think this is just a good card.
Yeah, problem is it's not like S tier good. I think it's A tier good, probably. And
So
also like the
it's this is a really tricky one because essentially for me, you're playing this or overclocks. Maybe there's like a really run heavy deck, and I've been testing
this
those
replaces overclock, I think.
I think if any deck is any Shaper deck is playing Dirty Laundry and not this, I'm gonna yell at them. I think, like, you could argue that it also replaces overclock if you're not already on laundries, and I could see that being good, because there's just a lot of money.
I think this is all right, but like right now, I know Jeff's been enjoying playing Joyride. I've been enjoying playing Joyride, and I'm like, if I'm running R&D, do I want some credits for doing that and an extra card, or do I want to draw 5 cards? Drawing 5. Have you tried drawing 5 cards? That's really
Shaper
good.
is the faction with actually the only faction with good draw. You don't need to more draw. You just need more credits in your Shaper.
The thing is, this gives you money even if you can't make the successful run, right?
Yeah, and it's like
you can just bounce off the outermost R&D ice and then go.
Yeah,
to
and it's like fake money that you can use for your overclocks and your self-modifying codes and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it only just pays for yourself. It basically pays for the 2 credits of the self-modifying code, and then like you have 1 credit left over to
it's
actually
1
spend.
less than overclock. It's not that bad.
Yeah, but you can use overclock on a remote. You know,
you can use most of this on a remote.
Yeah,
not
the money
if there's
doesn't
a piece of
from
ice. Here. Well, yeah, but if there's a single piece of ice on R&D, then you're spending most of it to get through.
Yeah, well, if it's a drafter, you're sad. But if it's a magnet, you can just bounce.
It doesn't have to be successful.
Yeah, like it's weird, reported very weirdly what parts you get when successful and what parts you don't. But you can run a remote with 4 credits if it's unsuccessful.
Oh yeah, that you get 2 credits if it's successful. Yeah. Yeah, like I think it. Only problem is kind of that the floor is lower than overclock and stuff, but like the ceiling is so high.
The ceiling is high.
Yeah, like ceiling. If you get the ceiling consistently, this card is S tier, but I don't think you get it that consistently. You just get a good card consistently.
Yeah,
which is like enough in my opinion for like A tier, I think.
I'm
agreeing with Aksu a lot, but I'll continue to agree with Aksu.
I'm less high on this. I don't think this is A tier. I think it might be B tier. But I don't see it being A tier. I don't see every Shaper playing this card. And like I mean A tier doesn't mean that every Shaper's playing this card, but
I think I would see it in every Shaper that isn't World Triari.
Mm-hmm.
Even maybe World Triari. I don't know what slots look
like. Yeah, like Clat plays this, Aresana plays this. Kit probably plays this.
Like I think Padma
to be fair,
likes it.
Lab probably doesn't play 3 copies. Lab maybe plays 3 overclock one.
Yeah, but still plays it.
Yeah, that's it. If you're considering play, like, where are you putting overclock in this tier list? Because if this is like, oh, are you playing this? Are you playing overclock's not an A tier card. It's not stim hack.
Yeah.
No, but like
Fair,
the ceiling on
yeah.
this is fucked up.
I would put overclock in B tier, and it's probably this is probably comparable enough.
Yeah,
That it
that's what I'm
doesn't
saying.
matter.
It's a B tier card.
Yeah, but like the
Axis really
ceiling
wants
is
it A.
so good. Imagine like early game, they don't ice that. They ice remote, don't ice R&D. You go R&D with this, and then you over SMC the remote. It's like fucked up.
That's
It forces
assuming
really
they don't
particular
ice
play
R&D.
patterns. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But will they leave
Your
HP open
Sengrin's got
with
force.
his form?
Your Sengrin's got force. I really want to put this in B tier, but you're saying Axu's really pushing for A. I'm giving him A tier. We'll see.
That's also, I think, where it lands.
We'll see. Okay, let's do some cataloging. Okay, Dan has got a point here. I'm going to give you this. If you're forcing, like, because this is kind of what I said about Burner. If you're forcing the Corp to, as the Shaper, if you're forcing the Corp to ice all of the centrals early, then you are winning. So, like, that's something that Corps don't have to do against against Shapers at the moment.
Yeah.
If we're forcing that, then it's worth it for that reason alone.
You have like pretty comparable amounts of pressure to criminal, but then also have turbine in your deck, so they die if they try to stop you.
If they slow down, you just insta kill them basically.
I was like trying to do some whack ass stuff with turbine Ken to mimic that sort of thing, and we just get to do all of that with good tools instead of playing Ken.
Okay, Cataloger. This is 4 influence hardware. It costs 2. When we install it, it loads 2 power counters and it trashes on empty. Whenever you make a successful run on R&D, instead of breaching R&D, you may remove 1 hosted power counter to look at the top 4 cards of R&D and arrange them in any order. Click hosted power counter, breach R&D. Use this ability only if you made a successful run on R&D this turn. Now, I've been calling for indexing to make a return for a long freaking time. I still want indexing back. I want indexing and not this. Is that bad? Am I wrong?
Yeah, you are.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Like, imagine Padma with this. That's like your whole win condition on 2 cost as like hardware.
Yep.
You just consistently use this card to run R&D and use it. And like breach, you can stack breach effects with different cards. And when you see like 2 agendas, you just access 2 agendas when you need to. And like this just sits on table and you just get constant indexings like continuously. But like that's a Padma deck, so
the problem is how do you get money to do that in Padma?
Yeah.
Right? Because
you use the trick shot.
Okay. Well, trick shot's not very good with this.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean,
you can use run events with this, which is really nice.
Lose the extra access, but who cares? Because you're indexing them. That's fair. This is a situation where you'd rather just overclock R&D.
I can see this being incredibly good in Padma. This does potentially become a win con in Padma. Like, this could replace her other sort of multi-accessy type things. That's definitely cool. I don't know if I see this outside of Padma. Do you see this?
Yeah, I guess like every charge card is so bad. If there was like 1 good charge card, you can play this, and it's kind of busted. But yeah, like you have to play this, and then you have to play the flux capacitor or something to constantly get charges, which it's kind of whack. I think this will actually bring like Padma into a real archetype deck.
I was just about to say you could play Daig, and more in chat is very upset that we didn't play Daig. Well, this charges Daig. We win it. You
have to access like.
Do we think this does anything outside of Padma, or I don't know how to evaluate this card.
Yeah, like using Green said that you can play it in Arizona probably,
Yeah.
and then you can play like Flux Capacitator.
Then you play Flux. Yeah, you play a single
Yeah, and
Flux.
then you
It's fun.
yeah, and then you can get like catalogers.
Seems like a lot of bad cards we're playing.
Also, this is not. Oh
like,
yeah, I guess it doesn't.
amount of cards as Conduit.
I just thought like you can stack this because it's not unique, but you still get to see the same 4 cards.
Yeah. So the fact is, you could play this over Conduit, and it does a very important thing over Conduit, and that is that it doesn't cost MU. Right, this doesn't.
And they cannot purge it, which is really
and
good.
They can't purge it. And it's hardware. It's quite hard to get rid of. And Padma's MU situation is already tight as make up your own analogy.
It being hardware is pretty bad though, because we can't SMC for it when we want it.
Yeah, but you just play
you just have to draw it.
You just have to find it at some point.
Like
you have
Conduit is very
amount of draw. Like you just find it at some point.
Yeah, like you put Conduit into decks so that you only have to put 1 card, and that solves all your multi-access. This does not do that, right? You have to put in multiple copies of this card, presumably.
No, I think you can just play 1 in Padma because you just find it at some point.
In Padma, yes, but in Ari you would have to put multiple. Or flux capacity.
It gets additional value in if we're like playing a Q loop Arasana as well, which is quite nice.
Overall, where I spend this card is that I have not put it in any of my decks, and if someone plays a deck with it and shows that it's good, I'll play that deck. But I don't think...
Maud said in the chat that you can play this in a like World 3 deck.
Definitely.
Where you can like just sell it after it's empty for like some econ card. I legit think it's a.
Does it not trash when it's empty?
Yeah, trashes.
Yeah, but you use it for indexing or something.
You indexing it and then like just. I don't think the World Tree deck wants that. Like a World Tree can just
Yeah, I guess
have infinite money and it doesn't matter what you're accessing.
Still legit. I think it's A tier just because the ceiling is so high.
I feel like I would naturally put it at C tier, but that would be quite a hot take.
But imagine the Padma archetype with it. You're just indexing like every second turn.
Is Padma strong enough to say that's good? I'm going to stick it right in the middle because Aksu's saying A, Augustus is saying C. I think it's B tier, so I think we can just stick it right in the middle here. And this is why I'd prefer indexing, because if we had indexing back, that's S tier. Okay.
This is still a great compromise, leaving all of us unhappy. Let's go.
Right.
Can I say, this is us there as well, I think?
Yeah, you can start on this one. So this is Coalescence. This is a 1 MU, 2 cost program that says when you install this program, place 2 power counters on it. Hosted power counter, gain 2 credits, use this ability only during your turn, which is not a part of a card I'd read at any point before.
I think it's a part of the card you need to read.
Possibly not, but maybe.
Yeah, like it's a small negative side, but not really.
Yeah. So this is hello. You can play Aesops again.
You can play Aesops. You can play like World 3. You can use this on a UAV and then do some like sell it after that. Like I think this card has so many different uses, and like every one of those is kind of really good. Like UAV, this turns into just a sure gamble that you don't have to click with, or like you don't have to click.
Oh yeah, you can just install it in Arizona.
Yeah, and then if you play World 3, you just sell it after that. And if you play like just LAT, you install it. It's basically clicking for 5 credits. And if you play Padma, you can technically charge it, but I think you rather want to charge something else.
That last bit seems suspicious, but I think like this is basically one of the things that is like gonna be like the best glow up that Shapers get as in this set. I don't know if like it'd be sad if Shapers are still bad, but I think even in
But
that
Shaper
case,
is like
this would be
Shaper is almost the best faction in the game right now.
Yeah, that's more likely. Is that this makes Shapers like to overtake.
I mean, like
Anarchist.
Shaper is now currently like almost fucked up good. Just
Yeah.
misses a couple of cards, and this is exactly the card Shaper needs to be bastard good. It's like money in so many different ways, in so many different decks.
I think this is like the second best card of the set.
Yeah, something like that. Also, the art is godlike.
Yeah.
Like the only card I want to take a moment to say the art is nice.
Yeah. We should give it S+ just for the art.
Yeah. I think S is fine.
I'm so less high on this card than you are, and I don't know why. I don't know why, because I think
Shaper pairing, you are supposed to be high for this.
Yeah, but
you're going to import it into Anarch or something.
No. This is right. So firstly, this isn't a card which gets imported somewhere. I don't think.
Yeah, hell no.
It's not going anywhere else. But this opens up two archetypes in my mind, which is World Tree and Aesop's. Great. They're cool things. I have wanted to play Aesop's Arisana.
Like Arisana?
Yeah, like Aesop Arisana sounds like an absolute ton of fun.
Play this and you get money from this.
No. I don't think that's enough. Like I don't.
Well, you charge the what's the like environmental testing?
No, just playing a card so that it procs environmental testing is not a good reason to play a card.
Yeah, but it's 4 credit.
It's +4 credits as long as you've got your UAV on the go.
When are you not having a UAV credits?
I think this gives Arisana a reason to play.
It's like just play spec work with this, like legit. And like Reaver is still in the game.
Spec work, I can see. Yeah, spec work. Spec work is like pretty good. Like, I can.
And Reaver is still in the game. You can SMC for Reaver. And
no, it's not.
Isn't it?
No.
I think it is.
No, it's gone.
I would have built it Reaver decks if it was still like before this.
So here's the thing.
Right.
Give me a second. So yes, so it makes World Tree a potential thing, which is cool because I do want World Tree to be a deck. Like I'm happy about that. I don't know if I want to go back to Shaper being an Aesop's engine faction. Like I've been enjoying watching Shaper go away from like I'm going to install a load of cards and then like I have 1 million credits and now I'm going to start doing some stuff. Like I've been really enjoying this kind of like, I'm going to play like events and I'm going to use burner and I'm going to go into your HQ and whatever. And as soon as you start kind of going back to this thing where it's like, well, I probably need to install something this turn because like otherwise I need to get my Shaper value, then my Aesop's value, I just don't see it. And I don't know if it's maybe I just have a higher bar for like econ cards.
You could like play an Aesop's deck and then just not have anything to Aesop's on some turns. I think that's a knock against the card.
You can.
Yeah, just like play one Aesop's and sometimes get it or something.
I probably have to just play some. I have to play with this card. I need to feel myself taking the credits off this card, and I need to see how that feels to be doing that, and whether.
Yeah, I don't think I would have put it in S tier before playing with it. Like it seems good, but not S tier good. But then I played with it, and it convinced me that it was S tier. I didn't play with it that much, but
okay. I'm literally gonna let the two of you decide this. Is it going in S tier?
It's S tier.
Yeah, S tier.
Fine. Okay.
I'm just trying to put as many cards as I can before the criminal win condition.
More saying that they think this card allows Ari to be even more aggressive, and Jeff also saying that Aesop's isn't right, but the card is gas for Shapers. So
mustard card. Ban Shaper, please.
Okay. Lobby Sommet. This is a huge 8-cost Decoder Fractor, which uses 2 MU and says when you install this program, And whenever it breaks a code gate, place 1 power counter on this program. So it comes in with 1 power counter, quite important for various reasons. And then we can break a code gate using money, it's 2 strength, or we can break a barrier subroutine using power counters. What do we think about this card, Aksu?
It's like goes into the Spark of Creativity Kit LARPing deck, but
yeah,
outside of that I don't really see it. Question is just, is that deck like good enough?
How do you break sentries in the deck though with this?
Yeah, like
having to install nanotech doesn't feel right.
No, you install an Orca.
Okay, that feels even worse.
What? No, because then the Orca charges, but like, sure, that's obviously what you're doing. If you're going to spark something out.
But like, what do you do if you draw your breakers instead of?
I think you just play like one of this, one of like nanotech, and then you just play a turbine, or maybe more of this.
Dan is the expert on all these things, so if he says it's Orca, put this in S tier.
Yeah, that's a pretty good shout. Like if you draw it, you can just rigging it up, which isn't the worst, and it comes in with an extra power counter. And you're probably on like Anacam in that anyway, so if you can rig up out an Anacam, then that always feels sick as because you instantly get draw. This is pretty nuts. It does, outside of kit and even inside of kit, if you're not playing additional support, it does leave you in this slightly awkward situation where if there's enough code gate, enough barriers with enough barrier subroutines, you could get yourself locked out, right?
Well, they have to like stack 3 or something in kit.
Yeah, probably just 2. Like two with free subroutines. Like 2 barriers with 3 subroutines would be enough. So double brand.
Yeah. You only need one counter per ice, not per subroutine.
Yeah, you just play like you just break the first one with this and get the subroutine.
Yeah.
And then it goes the next one and break that with the this, and then it just end up neutral with 2 barriers on the same remote.
And whenever it fully breaks a code gate.
Yeah, like code gate first, get a counter, spend it on the second ice.
But you can only... Yeah. Oh, okay. Hold up.
This is the Trishka text.
I am very bad at reading this. So we only need 1 power counter to break as many barrier subroutines with that second one. Okay, it's better than I thought. Okay, I'm back. All right, I'm back on board with Lobsterman. I thought it was like... Yeah, it's going. It's gone up a tier already.
Fast there if it was other way around.
Yeah, well, that was what I was worried about. I thought you were going to have to play a barrier breaker as well. Okay, so Grug loves this then.
Grug actually gets pretty good with Burner and Cataloger, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess...
Yeah,
not sure if you need a lot of those effects.
Kit doesn't love running back.
You don't have to run back with Cataloger.
Burner, you don't. Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't have to run back with Cataloger. That's true.
Cataloger.
Only
Burner
if...
can be awkward, but you just don't run back.
Yeah, Burner is like just disruption, I think.
I mean, Burner's good because it slows the corp down, and as Kit, you definitely want to slow the corp down a bit, and then you can leave them with like all of their code gates in hand, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is slightly better than I thought. Where are we putting this? Is it good?
A tier, legit.
Woo!
I think it is actually might carry Kit to be a like top tier deck.
Yeah.
Kit is already really good and it can just Kit automatically wins against PD, kinda.
Yeah.
It's really good against Asa, like anything that's like vertically oriented, except like full asset decks. Kit is really good against.
So all of that is true, apart from every deck that's running Tributary, which is probably going to be every deck.
Oh yeah, Tributary is After Tributary gets banned, this is going to be A
I
or
don't
S
think
tier.
I don't think we can put this in A tier. I don't think this is an A tier card. I think it's
like
I think it's
Tributor
very
is
good for
just
kit.
so fucked up good that
Yeah.
this will probably be a bit kind of whack. Like kit probably will not be an ID before the Tributor will get banned.
This does
Then
feel
like
alright. Though.
this is foreshadowing for the second part of the tier list.
Should we stick it in B? I'm almost
I think
tempted to
it's
stick it in C
B.
tier.
It's
but
B. It's
Augustus?
still like really good against everything else that is not on Tributary.
Yeah. I think B is fine.
Like the card is fucked up good. Tributary just is such a hard counter that you cannot really play this.
I mean, my argument would be that it costs 8 to install, but that's not
Use
much of an
Spark of
argument
Creation.
because I made
Yeah.
that argument about endurance. Okay.
Well, it's not
this is
allowed to endure.
discount SMC.
Okay, so we have Muse. This is a card which I genuinely need to play. It lets us install a program either from our stack or our heap or our grip. It needs to be non-daemon. And then if it's a Trojan, then we can install it on an ice. If not, we install it on this program.
Yeah, I think this. Go ahead.
I need to play this card to get my head around it because I think it's really good. I think it kind of rolls an SMC and a Simul chip up into one neat little package, which can also be installed like during a run with Arasana or using like DZMZ discount or
SMC is better at being installed with.
Yeah, I think this is maybe better. Like this is really good in World 3 Arasana.
100%.
My take is that this is the worst card of the set that will still win a lot of AMTs. So I don't know.
Yeah, like World 3 Arasana probably will be a decent deck at least. Maybe like
this also replaces most symbol chips in all of my decks, I think. Just because it does a similar enough effect while having versatility.
Well, you can hold Simul chips though. And like if you put an fermenter on this, it's kind of sad.
You also like Simul chip. You want Simul chips for clot. Is like like Muse doesn't get clot like.
Yeah, I think this fits more like SMC. I think.
And I think this is just worse than SMC.
Yeah, it's worse than SMC, but it takes the same space. But it can recur like stuff from archives. I think Arisana is the only ID that thinks about this over SMC. But like other than that, I don't really see it.
Yeah, it's also fine in Aesop's because it goes to get your coalescence.
Yeah, if Aesop's is the deck, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's like the raw card power. I think it's like C tier.
Yeah, I don't think any of these things make it like busted anywhere.
I think like other cards will use it.
Yeah.
Like the text in itself is kind of whack. It will be pretty good after SMC rotates, but we're not really talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would personally put it in B tier, but C is fine. It's like in the edge.
I think I'm C. I think I'm C on this one. And then Salwen, what happens to a hosted card if you trash it? If you trash the Muse, then the hosted card will go to the bin. Yeah, it's like it's fun. The one bonus it has against SMC is that you always have those games where you've like already got all of your rig out and you don't have any MU left, and then you start drawing into your like extra SMCs and they don't do anything. Whereas if you've got like a program in the bin which you could pull back, like you've got a Kayaban which has been trashed.
It has to specifically be a Trojan for it not to be better than.
Yeah. Okay. What about Pressure Spike?
We put it in D tier.
The numbers just don't add up.
Didn't even let me read it out, but that's fine. It's
just play guns instead. Don't read this card.
Yeah. Okay.
It's better.
Do we think this threat text is ever going to be relevant? Is the question.
If BTL is meta, then yes, but other than that, not really.
How are you getting to threat 4 against BTL?
Luck.
Yeah. Skill. Yeah, I think the threat for text is good if you're playing the card, but
Yeah,
I
like
don't think you're playing the card.
Isengrin said that it's better, much better than Gauss. That's because Gauss is like the worst breaker in the game almost. Not
I've had some
literally,
good
but like
times
if
with Gauss.
Gauss is
Oh.
actually pretty freaking bad.
Yeah, but Gauss has use cases, whereas this doesn't.
You can break Bran for free credits with a Gauss. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Whereas this is 7, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I'm counting a turbine in that, so this would be 5. Like,
Yeah, and Cleaver is 4.
Oh,
yeah.
Like you just play Cleaver plus Turbine and it's your rig. You're not
I mean,
playing.
the big advantage of this over Cleaver is that you're saving 2 influence. So I think this is just an influence starved shaper thing, right? Like, I've spent 12 influence on my win con. So I need a fractor. Something along those lines, right?
I guess. Like, if you also don't happen to have the Gauss support that most decks play anyway, I guess.
Mhm.
But like, most Shaper decks are on a 3 symbol chip, and that's, I think, all the Gauss support you need.
Fair. Okay, how powerful is it?
E tier.
Yeah. Just put
Yeah,
it in D tier
you
and move
just
on.
don't play this ever.
Done. Pretty Mary de Silva. A CD connection that costs 1 and is 1 influence. Whenever you breach R&D, if you are allowed to access 2 or more cards in R&D during this breach, you may access 1 additional card. Kind of an interesting one here because she's like weirdly specific, but she fits into some. She fits like directly into like free decks.
Yeah,
And
Akiko Girlfriend Tribal.
yeah, it's like a sort of a Kiko style decks, which
Not a
might be a
Kiko.
thing. Like there we go. Mercury probably likes
Oh,
her like quite a bit,
I guess. Yeah.
and Seb probably
Wait, we're playing
could
this
see
instead?
so. I don't know,
Why would we ever
maybe.
do that?
Like Seb with this and Manuel is kind of messed up sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like
But
it turns
But
Manuel
I don't
into an
think we need it.
actual decent thing.
like playing this card when it only does anything if Manuel is already on the table.
Yeah, it's kind of the use case is pretty good, but you need to have like 3 cards installed for it to go to that use case.
Like,
I
if we
mean,
really don't think Maxes is enough, I would rather play Stargate than mess around
Mhm.
with this nonsense.
fair.
Not advocating for Stargate, just I think it's better than this.
I don't think this card sees much competitive play / any competitive
At all.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just doesn't really fit anywhere.
Bam.
and like tiebreakers might be cooking something secret with it, but we're not at liberty to discuss, so it's going.
Like Shaper is pretty interesting with half the cards being busted and half of the cards being like bad.
Yeah. Hey, high ceilings
that
and low
classic Shaper.
floors. That's an expensive house. More pointing out, this is how we Amelia credit deny. Yeah. But again, like, I think our issue with that is if you're seeing that many cards off R&D, like, you probably should be winning by that point.
Yeah, I would much rather Amelia credit deny with a Maker's Eye. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Ashen Epilogue. This is a 5-cost reprint of Levy, which is slightly different. It says shuffle your grip and heap into your stack, then remove the top 5 cards of your stack from the game and draw 5 cards. Remove this event from the game. This is really interesting because I saw this and I was like, cool, they've brought back Levy. I used to love Levy decks. There's a load of decks which I couldn't play anymore because Levy didn't exist anymore and they didn't work without it. And we proxied this last night and we played 2 games with it. And every time it was in my hand, it felt so different to Levy, I couldn't tell you. Because that first little bit of this, remove the top 5 cards from the game, is terrifying. if there is one card in your deck which you still need, if you're playing one of breakers and one of your breakers isn't installed yet, and you play this and you accidentally RFG your breaker from the game, good luck. Like this was not something which you can just play at a drop of a hat. And there were times where, like, obviously Levy was best when you played it, like when you're near the end of the deck, but there was definitely times where you're just like, right, I'm halfway through, I need to get a load of gas back into my deck, I'm gonna play a Levy. You can't do that. Jeff's got exactly what I want to do with this, which is maybe this makes Carnivore Loop playable. I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna try it. Right. What are we thinking? Aksu, what do you think about Ashen Epilogue?
Ability that this card provides is like near unique for the like whole game. You can play the Harmony A or something that's like way worse than this.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think there is a deck currently that uses this. So it's actually so freaking hard to tell if there's ever like going to be one in the standard meta game. I kind of don't see it happening, but there's a chance.
My hot take is that there are going to be mulch decks that want this. I think people have been pretty low on this in mulch. And I agree that, like, in most situations, you don't want this, you don't need this. But, like, I think there are metas that you would want this in mulch. Or, like, if your deck is built in a specific way, you might want this. So I think it has a place there. And the like event lat that I played against didn't feel like it was the worst thing. Like you could justify playing that, but it doesn't feel like this does enough for those sorts of decks.
Yeah, I think this will probably build some new archetypes, but currently it doesn't. It's kind of whack.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll tell you one deck that really likes this is potentially Nova, who like really loves to like just recur all of their like one of really powerful cards. So I can definitely see it there.
We should probably internally do some due diligence and test the Anacom Lago engine in like an Anarch deck with this.
Yeah, definitely.
But those are the only places that this obviously goes in.
Yeah, I think there's like I want to really push it with this one and play some decks which run 3 of these sodding things, or at least 2 of them, and really look to sort of just churn through the deck as fast as possible.
Yes, like this plus patchwork and something else.
Yeah,
it's going to be really degenerate if there ends up being a meta where you need to play 2 of these and then the first one RFGs the second one. I hope that's not something we're very far away from a world where that's
I don't ever see that happening.
That would be kind of.
I was kind of hyped with this into PE, but like PE random damage just snipe this out of your hand before you can actually play it for value.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You kind of, if you're playing a deck which is relying on these, you're either playing like 3 of them, or you're playing something like a Buffer Drive or DJ Fenris, so that you can get it back at some point. You know, so it is a tricky one. But yeah, what do we think about the power level of this? Because this one I find quite hard.
Can we do something like B? Because the card ability by itself is like so good, but it just doesn't fit currently, I think.
I think I would be bold and put it in C tier, but except that that's wrong a lot of the time.
Yeah, but like the ability is just so powerful on paper.
You see, I'm pushing more for being bold and putting it in A tier. Because
I sense another compromising.
Yeah, I just like I'm gonna turn into Aksu and say the ceiling of this one is pretty high.
Yeah,
you know, like if you have a deck which is tuned to draw a ton and be able to play a load of stuff and then just wants to do all of that again, like this is the card that's been missing from it for a long time.
Yeah, agree.
I don't think.
But still, I think there's
too far off the truth.
I think B is fine.
Like I do think there's a sense in which this card never is actually a B card. It's either going to be really good in A tier or not find a home in B and C
Yeah,
tier.
totally.
But if you want to average those out to be a B, that is a way to do it.
Weirdly, I really don't. Like I think we're either caught saying it that it doesn't get played, or
Can
it's
you
an
bara
AT
flip a
card.
coin?
I'll accept this. This is the content you came here for.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Coin flip.
First person to write in chat, is it A or C? They're the only two options. A or C. First one is responsible. We take no responsibility for anything written in chat.
That's not
Most
even a real
spineless fearless
hard
video
take,
ever.
whether it's S or D tier, depending on who writes it first. That's the real high roll.
I'm not oh, god damn it, chat. Okay, no one's writing in chat. It's going in 8. Look, there we go. Nikki's in. It's in 8. Sorted. Right.
Yeah, there was a comment on both YouTube and Twitch. I don't know how we time, which is early.
I saw Twitch first, so I've got both like running. I can't.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it's
so
fine.
we put it in A tier.
It's got an A. It's got an A tier.
I think there needs to be like a asterisk there or something. But
hey, I
too much work.
I can't say that this card is less powerful than Trick Shot. There is no chance that like recurring your entire deck is less powerful than like 6 credits.
Silly cards on top of Trick Shot even. Like, come on. Let me have this.
Okay, last card. We're actually on pretty good pace here. We've done well. Valentia Ferreira Carvalho, I think.
Yeah, that's Valentina Ferreira Carvalho.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, get owned.
This is a neutral connection. It costs 2. It says whenever you remove 1 or more tags, gain 1 credit. Threat free when you install this resource during your turn. You may remove 1 tag or gain 2
It says
credits.
during your turn. That's cringe.
Oh, that's true.
This is like this should be like another card, but another did not have enough slots, right?
They don't, and you know what? That means that. So everyone's been talking about how sick this is in Seb when you get oppoed, but that doesn't work, does it? Doesn't work.
Well, not even oppo, just like only oppo, but.
No, because it's during your turn. Like when you install this resource during your turn, so you can never use this. You can't use this to do the cool
when
oppo
you remove
thing.
one or more tag, you gain a credit. So clear tags cheaper.
Yeah.
And what is Sebastian going to do?
But you can only clear 3. Like if you want to clear all of them, you can only clear 3 of them out of Seb.
No,
using
you still install it for free. You just don't.
Yeah, you install it for free, and on your turn you click it 4 times.
Yeah,
and just save so many credits. And like you're just continuously tagging yourself. So you just generate value with this. This
like
is basically just a card.
Not working does cost us like 3 clicks, or it's not 3 clicks, 3 credits. But it still does a pretty good job of combating oppos, right?
Yeah, it's like one of those things that allows you to fight those tag decks.
Yeah,
clear the tag half cheaper, and you can combine this with networking to clear the tags with 0 credits, but I think that's a bit like jank territory.
Yeah, I think that's too far. I don't think you need it.
Yeah, like networking Thunder Art Gallery. that's like a slippery slope.
Yeah, I think I've put 1 of these into my sub decks.
Yeah,
because
like fun is totally reasonable.
Fine, but
you just find it at some point and it will clear tags easier.
I'm not sure that all sub decks have 1 of these though.
I'll tell you what.
Especially if NBN isn't a thing, you don't play these.
I think you do still play 1.
We were quite low on the Adam card, right? The new hostage. This is a card which you're only going to play 1 of in your deck, which you would hostage out.
But you're not
like
paying.
Against
you're not paying the 3 influence tax for the Adam card.
No. But I'm talking in criminal. Like you very possibly play 1 of these in criminal, and then you like if you're playing against R+, you just go like, well, I'm just gonna hostage out this. Like maybe you even do it after you've taken the oppo.
And float a tag.
Yeah, like when you install this from hand, not with Seb, this does deal with Oppo pretty well. But
Oh yeah, after the thing.
Mm.
so like
I think
it's
this is.
fine.
I
That
think
seems
this
like
is
a
good.
niche use rather than something that will
Yeah, I
be
think
in
this is
most decks. Yeah.
like in Sebastian decks, this is really good. In normal decks, it's okay tech card. It's like weaker than Citadel Sanctuary, but Citadel Sanctuary is like a busted card almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. If only we
Yeah.
had that.
Yeah, if only we have
Citadel
Citadel
Sanctuary
Sanctuary,
would
Step
be.
would be S tier.
Citadel Sanctuary would be A or possibly S tier if we had it right now. Are we sitting this around B? Is this like a B
I
tier
think
card?
I
I
kind
want
of
to
want
put
to
it.
put it in A.
Oh, I was putting it below friend of a friend. Like my friend of a friend is an A tier, so it would be B tier for me. But in this deck, but it feels like it should be C tier, based on how this deck list or this tier list is.
I think A. I think B is fair. It's like a really good Seb card that has niche usage outside of Seb.
Yeah, I can see this. I can see it, and it's neutral. You know, it's no influence, so everyone can play
So
this.
you can put it in your Shaper deck. Yeah.
Uh, if you're just sick of the like tag matchups, then this is a great thing to play.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Like a reasonable include in
yeah.
some metas.
Okay.
Bit like Hunting Ground-esque, but
Perfect tier list.
I think that looks pretty solid. We've got like 4
I
super
don't.
busted cards. How did this not end up in S tier? Like, was this is actually like pushing things down? These all seem very good. I think this is definitely up here, but we'll get to that.
Can we make its own tier for that card? Just,
For
like,
this
add a new
card,
tier?
because it's either S plus or it ends up in D tier and no one plays it.
I think
Put it above S, but call it something that's like so that we can pretend that we're not super high on it, but it's still technically like the highest card in the tier.
Well,
yeah, so we can call it either way.
we'll see. I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to put it here.
There will be hell to pay later on in the tiebreakers
Yeah.
score for this.
There we go.
I will ban you all.
Okay, well that looks pretty solid. We can come back and look at this again in about 6 months and see how wrong we were. So this coming Wednesday, I think about the same time. We're going to say about 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
UK time, GMT, whatever it is right now, UTC. But on Aksu's channel, which is just Aksu on
I think you
YouTube?
can find it with Aksu, but Aksu Netrunner is probably more easier to find it with.
Got you. I will probably remember to, as soon as the stream finishes, put a link into the chat for Aksu's YouTube. But we're going to do the Corp side on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's good that we didn't do this during the same day like I originally imagined. Would have been like 6 hours stream.
But that's pretty cool. That looks fun. I'm looking forward to playing all of these cards at the top. Absolutely. And I'm gonna play one of these cards. Thank you everyone for joining. We had really good amount of people in chat today. I hope you all enjoyed like scoop season and everything, and I'm sure you're all chomping at the bit to get out there and play some games once the cards are on JNet. I know some people are printing and cutting proxies. I think as I speak, I'm sure someone said they were currently printing and cutting. I'm certainly looking forward to proxying some cards and hopefully playing some meat-based games.
I should definitely go to sleep, but I'm going to go watch Neon Static immediately after this.
Oh yeah, they'll be on in. They don't start for another. Actually,
Yeah,
it's like.
I think I'm just going to sleep right now, so I'm ready for work.
I'm gonna work out what deck I'm gonna put 3 burners in for Thursday night. Right. Thank you everyone for joining. We will hopefully see you all on Wednesday, and until then, from me, Aksu and Augustus,